Gwe Ipjilidach. Bonjour, bienvenue, hello, and welcome to the beautiful Mainland Commons Field here once again in Halifax, Nova Scotia. My name is Michael Petter, joined once again by Eric Fougier for semi-final number 2 here at the 2023 Baseball Canada Women's Championship Tournament. Before we go any further, we must take a moment to quickly acknowledge again that Mainland Commons and Weir Field, the two baseball facilities for this tournament, the entire HRM, and for that matter, the entirety of the province of Nova Scotia, all lie within the ancestral unceded territory of Mi'kma'ki. We know one of our gold medal game participants, and in a couple of hours we will know who they will be facing. It's British Columbia in the championship game, Nova Scotia in the bronze medal game after an incredibly tight semifinal. And Eric, we've got a rematch of the game that was played a little bit earlier than this yesterday, but Alberta and Quebec won. They played a great game yesterday. Quebec ended up winning that game. Now they get a rematch about 28 hours later. This is going to be good baseball.
Oui, tout à fait. Des équipes qui se connaissent très bien. Comme tu le dis, ont joué moins d'une journée de séparation entre les deux. Deux très bonnes équipes également. On a vu hier un match très compétitif. Évidemment, beaucoup de baseball qui s'est joué dans les 4 dernières journées. Fait que des athlètes qui sont peut-être fatigués, mais on n'a pas remarqué rien dans la première demi-finale. Les deux équipes avaient beaucoup d'enthousiasme et d'énergie. Donc, on verra qui va affronter la Colombie-Britannique ce soir dans la médaille d'or.
And just quickly, because we've had some situations with weather that happened overnight, people might have tuned in a couple of hours ago to try to find the start of this game, but we've talked about this. The grounds crew has done a great job of getting this field into shape after we had those rains overnight. We saw the ball go a little bit slow through the grass, and there's nothing you can do about that. But the dirt part of the infield, which the grounds crew does have control over, they've made it absolutely immaculate here again.
Absolument. Le travail de l'équipe technique ici, vraiment formidable. Comme tu le dis, on a remarqué un peu dans le dernier match qu'on vient de faire, les balles qui ralentissaient un petit peu. Évidemment, le terrain est quand même un peu mouillé. On a eu de bonnes pluies durant la nuit. Mais voilà, on est prêt à y aller et je crois que le terrain ne sera pas un facteur dans le match. Ça, j'en suis convaincu.
As we get ready for this game, Quebec, being the number 2 seed in the A pool after finishing 2-1, will be the home team for this game against Alberta, who finished in Pool A at 1-2. And because they finished in Pool A at 1-2 and in 3rd place, they had to play a quarterfinal last night. And maybe for Quebec fans who didn't stay up late to watch that quarterfinal, take us through what happened between Alberta and Saskatchewan, because I've run out of words.
Oh, c'était un match incroyable. J'ai pu évidemment participer, le visionner en tant que spectateur. L'Alberta qui a gagné 13-12. Un match qui, on a vu l'avance changer de main plusieurs fois au courant du match. Vraiment très compétitif. C'est venu à la toute fin. C'était un match qui a dû se décider dans le dernier jeu de la rencontre. Vraiment, la Saskatchewan qui ont fait tout ce qu'ils pouvaient pour essayer de se rendre dans la demi-finale cet après-midi, mais qui jouera tout de même cet après-midi dans le match de la 4e, 5e place qu'on essaie de déterminer, qui sera joué relativement en même temps que nous. Je crois qu'ils ont un départ à 3h15 cet après-midi. Mais beaucoup de baseball encore devant nous. On a ce match-ci, on va avoir la médaille de bronze qui va suivre celui-ci et puis la médaille d'or ce soir. Donc, on souhaite que tout le monde reste à l'écoute. On a hâte de voir nos partisans.
We know who's finishing 9th, we know who's finishing 8th, we know who's finishing 7th, but we still don't know 5th and 6th, or of course the top 4. Very quickly, the 8th versus 9th place game was Manitoba versus Quebec 2 last night. You were over at Weir Field to call that game. For those who maybe didn't get a chance to see it, give us a quick summary of what happened.
Ben, je crois que le match était vraiment une chance pour Québec 2 de donner des rôles inhabituels à plusieurs joueuses. On a vu Ellie, la Sorcière Godmère, lancer. Elle a joué à l'arrêt-court, elle a joué au troisième. On a vu aussi Océane Lambert lancer, qui a très bien lancé. Elle a une motion incroyable. Elle peut lancer par-dessus l'épaule et, comme on dit, sidearm. Effectivement, des deux positions. Les frappeuses du Manitoba étaient un peu confuses, je dois avouer. Mais le Manitoba, qui venait de perdre leur match, ils ont dû faire un programme double, sont bien revenus dans le match. Le match est terminé 9-1 pour le Manitoba, mais je crois que c'était vraiment plus une expérience de croissance pour Québec 2 dans ce match versus vraiment gagner le 8e rang. Ça aurait été beau de le faire, mais je crois que c'était vraiment une opportunité pour eux de faire des petites expériences, d'essayer des choses un peu différentes, puis de mettre toutes les joueuses dans l'alignement. Je dois avouer que j'avais un peu de misère à suivre toutes les joueuses, à quel endroit ils étaient rendus à certains moments. Je crois qu'il y a 2 ou 3 joueuses qui ont joué à 3 positions au moins, donc c'était quand même intéressant. Mais les filles sont bien parties avec un sourire sur le visage, étaient très contentes de leur tournoi tout de même.
And so that victory by Manitoba has them finishing 8th in the tournament. Quebec 2 finishes 9th. Earlier this afternoon at Weir Field, it was a game between the two Ontario teams. Ontario won. The senior team defeated the developmental team 17-2 in 4 innings. That means Ontario 2 will finish 7th. And Ontario 1 moves into the 5th and 6th place game against Saskatchewan. That game will start about an hour and 15 minutes from now. And of course, the top 4 will be Nova Scotia, BC, Alberta, and Quebec 1 in some order. We know Nova Scotia is playing for bronze. We know BC is playing for gold. And coming up over the next 2 hours, we will find out. Is it Quebec and BC, or is it the 2 westernmost provinces playing for gold? And who will face Nova Scotia for the bronze medal? Quebec is the home team, so they're taking the field first. So, Eric, if I could get you to take us through the defensive alignment.
Absolument. Notre lanceuse aujourd'hui va être Délicate Dumoulin, la receveur Lucie Anctil. Ensuite de ça, au premier but, Emma Rose Payette. Au deuxième but, Ella Desbédard. Au troisième, Élisée Gélina. À l'arrêt-court, Alexandre Fournier. Au champ gauche, Andriane Leblanc. Senna Catterall sera le champ-centre et la champ-centre, je dois dire. Et Justine Marin sera à la droite.
And they will be defending against an Alberta lineup that will start with the right fielder, Ava Greiner, excuse me. The second batter for Team Alberta will be their center fielder, Cassie Matlock. Batting third and playing shortstop, Madison Willen. Batting fourth, the left fielder, Tyra Stanich. Batting fifth, the starting pitcher, Caitlin Ross. In the sixth spot is the catcher, Julianne Scott. And a first pitch strike coming at 2:02 p.m. So Ava Greiner behind in the count here, 0-1. The 7, 8, and 9 hitters for Alberta today will be the third baseman, Sydney Berry, the second baseman, Sadie Jesperson, and the first baseman, Cassidy Gervais. And the 0-1 pitch to Greiner gets pulled foul. And so 0-2 now the count here on Team Alberta's leadoff hitter. And that being, of course, as mentioned, Ava Greiner. That one fouled back into the screen, and so the count remains 0-2. And Greiner for Team Alberta from, I had it and then I lost it, from Yellowhead County. So an area just west of Edmonton. I believe Yellowhead County includes the community of Edson and Hinton and that general area. And beautiful part of the country out there. If you ever have a chance to be in Edmonton and make the drive to Jasper, that Yellowhead County is exactly where you'll be driving through, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
Les Rocheuses, hein? On peut pas s'en leurrer.
And now 3-2, as you just said, the count on Greiner. And here comes that 3-2 pitch. Or sorry, it was 2-2. Now it's a 3-2 count. Sometimes,
un peu au tableau.
Sometimes we look at the scoreboard and they fool us. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Grounded right at the second baseman, Desbédard. Over to first to Payette for the first out of the inning. And that will bring up Cassie Matlock. Ella de Bedard, a true full five-tool player. She hits for power, she hits for average, runs well, and you can see that she fields well at second base, and also a pretty good pitcher, too.
Elle a bien lancé, oui, elle a bien lancé. On l'a bien vu lancer dans le tournoi.
And Cassie Matlock stepping in. Matlock from the city of Edmonton, 24 years old. One of the older players for Team Alberta. In fact, the oldest player for Team Alberta at 24 years old. Fouls off the first pitch. The count goes to 0-1. As Dumoulin delivers one that just misses, 1-1.
Antine n'est pas d'accord. Semblait un peu haché de la tête.
And it's cooler today than it has been some of the other days, but still warm and muggy here.
On a un peu d'humidité, ouais.
Another grounder today. Bedard gathers it in over to first, and 2 up, 2 down here in the top of inning number 1. Madison Willen now coming up to bat. And I think you were over at or were you? No, you were here with me when we talked about the fact that Madison Willen, a 3-time Esso Cup champion, which is, for those not familiar, the Esso Cup is the Hockey Canada U18 Female National Championship Tournament. Willen, a part of the St. Albert Slash hockey organization, and I went to St. Albert High School, so if my home team can't win, I was kind of glad to see that the Slash were able to do it.
Il y a sûrement des athlètes du Slash qui ont été à ton école aussi.
And she now is a member of the University of Alberta Pandas hockey team, so and the U of A Pandas golf team as well.
Une athlète, c'est une athlète, hein? On peut dire des talents qui se transfèrent d'un sport à l'autre. Oh, beau lancer.
There's a strike, and so the count now 0-2 on Willen. Madison Willen pitched in one of yesterday's games. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head which one. I believe she pitched in the game. She was the starting pitcher in the game against Saskatchewan. She started at shortstop against this Quebec team yesterday. Grounder too short. Gathered up by Fournier. Across the diamond in time.
Un peu de misère à capter cette balle, mais il l'a bien récupéré pour faire le retrait.
So 3 up, 3 down in the top of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the first with Alberta 0, Quebec coming to bat. And Eric, take us through the Quebec batting order.
Et oui, Senna Catterall, toujours au premier rang, très efficace dans ce tournoi. Alexandre Fournier, ce sera la deuxième frappeuse. Andréane Leblanc, la troisième. Élisée Gélina, qui va frapper au 4e rang. Ella Desbédard au 5e. Emma Rose Payette en 6e rang. Sophie Gagné sera la frappeuse désignée de cette équipe, suivie de Justine Marin. Lucie Anctil et Délica Dumoulin sera la lanceuse. Ne frappera pas, mais elle va être là pour encourager ses consoeurs, j'en suis certain.
And they will be hitting into the defense of Alberta, starting in the outfield. Tyra Stanich out in left. Stanich recognizable by having maybe the best hair in the tournament. I made that comment a couple times, and it's only because I am so jealous.
Oh, c'est ça. Moi, je suis dans la même position que toi, Mike.
Cassie Matlock, a great center fielder for Alberta. We saw her make a couple real nice plays.
Tout à fait.
And Ava Grenier out in right field. Around the infield from third to first, it'll be Sydney Barry, then Madison Willen. Second base is Sadie Jesperson. First base, Cassidy Gervais. Behind the plate will be Julianne Scott. And on the mound, Caitlin Ross for Team Alberta here in this semifinal matchup to determine who will face BC for gold and who will face Nova Scotia for bronze later today here at the beautiful Mainland Commons Field, part of the Canada Games complex here in Halifax. We've got the Aquatic Center just off to our left, a little bit behind us, the Soccer Center off to our right, and you know, the city of Halifax, or the whole Halifax Regional Municipality, does so much for youth sports with facilities like this, and you know, can't say enough.
Même pour les vieux, parce que moi aussi je joue des fois sur le terrain de soccer derrière nous.
Sina Catterall steps in, And unfortunately, I didn't catch the introduction of our umpires for today's game.
Oh, frappé d'aplomb. Oh, bien joué. Un peu mal jugé au début, mais bien récupéré.
Yeah, Matlock, great recovery there. Like you said, the first step was the wrong way, but she was able to recover.
Tout de suite reconnu. Oh, pas tant de secondes.
And,
mais bien frappé tout de même. Catterall a vraiment fait un bon contact d'aplomb là-dessus.
One center fielder catching a fly ball from the other. And now Alexandre Fournier, the shortstop for Quebec, will step in.
Athlète de 21 ans, originaire de Saint-Jean-sur-le-Richelieu.
And a first pitch strike thrown by Caitlin Ross. That one in the dirt and blocked nicely once again by the Alberta catcher, Julianne Scott. Scott played a little bit of infield, a little bit of pitcher, and a little bit of catcher now here in this tournament.
Oh.
And there's another strike. The count goes to 1-2.
Scott qui prend la position. Tony Peña, pour ceux qui s'en souviennent.
Yeah. For those of us who are old enough to remember the Tony Peña. As Caitlin Ross, 22 years old from Redcliffe, Alberta. 2-2 the count here on Fournier from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, you said? Pulled down the third base line.
Fausse balle, c'était serré. L'arbitre bien placé, par contre, on doit dire. On aurait dit que ça passait au-dessus du coussin, mais le bon suivant a tombé hors ligne.
Just a hair foul there.
Un poil de plus, comme on dit au Québec.
As we see the East Link guys, Cecil Wright. The man, the myth, the legend, Cecil Wright coming up.
On va avoir des fausses balles à ce temps. Si ça est arrivé, il y aura des fausses balles qui vont venir de notre chance.
There's nothing mythical about the man and the legend, Cecil Wright.
Oh, celui-là est en lieu sûr et frappé aussi d'aplomb. Les bâtons de l'équipe Québec ont été très forts. Je pense qu'on l'a vu hier dans le match contre l'Alberta. Beaucoup de contacts très, très bons. Je crois que les bâtons sont réveillés de leur côté.
It's hard to pick one team and say it's the best hitting team in the tournament, but if you had to pick one, I would put Quebec right up there at the top.
Je pense que tu as raison, Mike. Ils ont très, très bien frappé. C'était très solide. Et partout dans l'alignement. C'est pas juste le power box dans le milieu, c'est tout le monde qui frappe bien. Oh, bien bloqué. Une tentative de vol. Elle est à temps.
That play ended up being a little bit closer than I at first thought it was going to be, as a great arm behind the plate there from Scott.
Oui, hein, lancé. Le départ que Fournier a eu, je croyais pas que Scott aurait été aussi serré. Le jeu, une belle glissade pour arriver sauf au deuxième.
And so now with the runner in scoring position for Andréane Leblanc. That one misses just low. 2-0 now the count. And we've talked about it a number of times. Despite the fact that so many of these games have gone back and forth, getting out to an early lead is so important, especially when you get down to these semifinal games. If you can get some momentum, get a lead built up early, and then ride your pitching as long as you can.
Tout à fait, tout à fait. Je pense que c'est toujours plus facile de jouer avec l'avance.
Although we saw it in that first semifinal this morning, BC got a lead, but Nova Scotia fought back, took the lead, and then BC helped partially by the home run by Emi Seiki as we get a grounder to second here. That'll be the second out of the inning as the routine play made by Sadie for the second out.
Oui.
The home run by Seiki ended up being the tying run, and then BC able to continue on, get the winning run in the bottom of the sixth, and then hold off in the top of the seventh. But give Nova Scotia credit. I think if you had said at the beginning of the tournament that Nova Scotia is going to take on BC in a semifinal and take them right down to the final out, I think Nova Scotia would have said, yeah, we'll be happy with that.
Peut-être pas les athlètes, mais les athlètes veulent toujours gagner tout, évidemment, mais ils ont une chance quand même de quitter avec une médaille s'ils gagnent le match qui suivra celui-ci. C'est important de dire que l'équipe qui va perdre notre match devra jouer un programme double. Tout de suite suivant celui-ci, devra jouer un autre match pour la médaille de bronze. Donc, souhaitons un peu de repos entre les deux. Je crois qu'il y a un règlement de Baseball Québec qui doit donner au moins 1 heure de repos entre les deux matchs. Donc, souhaitons qu'il n'y ait pas trop de manches supplémentaires dans ce match-ci.
And we'll get into this a little bit more when we get into the bronze medal game, but do you think it will give Nova Scotia an advantage, having played in the first semifinal, to have more time to have recuperated from the loss, not necessarily physically, but emotionally and mentally?
Oui. Écoute, les équipes d'entraîneurs à ce niveau-ci sont incroyables, donc je suis sûr qu'ils vont bien préparer les athlètes. Mais oui, à mon avis, avoir au moins une pause de côté de l'émotion, puis le temps de se recueillir va être très important et peut-être un avantage pour la Nouvelle-Écosse. Je suis d'accord avec toi, Mike.
Although whoever they end up playing, whether it is Alberta or Quebec, it will be obviously a very, very tough matchup.
Oui, absolument.
These are such highly skilled teams, great pitching, great hitting, good fielding for both sides. BC, I think it goes the other way in the gold medal game. I think BC, being on the high of winning, having the extra time off.
Jusqu'à ce soir, perdre un petit peu ce momentum, l'énergie positive. Mais j'ai jasé un peu avec les athlètes du BC, de la Colombie-Britannique, je dois dire, qui quittaient le terrain pour aller retourner à la chambre d'hôtel, peut-être se reposer un petit peu. Ils avaient toute une très belle... et voici la joueuse de champ droit qui tentait de faire un relais au premier but, mais la joueuse de premier but n'a pas été prendre sa place. Et voilà un point marqué.
Élisée Jalina gets the RBI single to put Quebec on the board here in the bottom of the first inning. And that will bring up the dangerous Ella de Bedard, one of only 2 players to hit a home run at this field.
Oui.
We saw a few home runs over at Weirfield. You got to see a few of them in person.
J'en ai vu 2 hier, oui. Amber Baker qui a frappé une très belle claque du champ opposé. Et puis Hicks qui a frappé une balle au champ centre. Je suis pas sûr qu'elle a encore atterri tellement qu'elle était loin. C'était vraiment une belle claque. Les clôtures ont été mises à peu près 325 pieds au champ centre. Sur le terrain, celui de Weir également. Donc celle-là a dû au moins voyager 330-335 pieds.
Some big hits from these female hitters. And there's one, but it's pulled foul off the bat of Ella de Bedard. Maybe just a little bit out in front of that off-speed pitch. Elle
a bien vu, mais elle a trop bien vu.
As Quebec here with a runner at first base, 2 away, 1 run already in here in the bottom of this first inning. This the semi-final game.
Encore là, des Bédards, on n'a pas vu plusieurs. Oh! Elle était sauve. C'était serré. Très beau jeu. Un beau vol de but. Alizé Gilina qui s'est bien rendu au deuxième. Une autre chose que j'ai remarqué de Débédard, une autre athlète qui ne frappe avec aucun gant de frappeur, donc no batting gloves.
Yeah. But I want to come back to that throw by Julianne Scott once again. So close.
C'était serré. Scott a un bon bras.
Jelena able to get the steal though, so she's now in scoring position. Next pitch to Debedar is in for a strike, and the count goes to 2-2. Oh, not 2 and 4. No, that.
Le tableau indicateur a un peu de misère. Là. On indique la 4e prise, mais voilà qu'on s'est corrigé.
There we go. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and a runner at base number 2. There we go.
Oh, ça va tomber en lieu sûr encore.
And so hard hit that Jelena does not get a chance to get beyond third base.
Frappé directement au champ droit, mais c'était une flèche. Aucune chance d'attraper cette balle sans tenter de la plongeon et puis risquer que la balle passe derrière nous. Tôt dans le match, je crois que c'était une bonne décision du champ droit pour contrôler cette balle.
And the arm of Ava Greiner able to get that ball back into the infield quickly. So runners at the corners with 2 away, and it brings up the first baseman, Emma Rose Payette. And we made this observation earlier in the tournament, possibly the tallest player in the tournament.
Je lui parlais hier, je la regardais vers le haut. Elle était plus, je crois, un peu plus grande que moi.
Here comes the first pitch.
Et en référence, pour ceux qui ne me connaissent pas, je mesure environ... Oh!
Overrunning it just a little bit there was Sydney Barry.
Oui, elle était à la bonne place, mais comme tu le dis, un peu trop loin. Barry n'a pas pu capter cette balle fausse qui aurait mis fin à cette manche et à la menace de Québec.
I don't think it was the wind, but definitely the spin on the ball causing that one to change direction a little bit there as it was coming down.
Ouais, avec une frappeuse gaucher qui frappe la fausse balle à la ligne du troisième. Oh, balle passée! Voici Alizé Gina qui va venir marquer facilement. Desbédard va contourner le deuxième qui sera au troisième. On tente le tout. Et elle arrive debout même. On l'a fait glisser, mais je crois qu'il n'y a aucun lancer pour la menacer. Desbédard part du premier avec un lancer errant et se rend au troisième. J'ai Lila qui vient compter.
So it's now 2-0 for Quebec, and as you said, Ella Desbedard all the way around to third base on that throwing error by the pitcher, Caitlin Ross, and Scott going out to calm her pitcher down after that and just give her a chance to catch her breath, and Quebec out to the early lead here, 2 runs on 3 hits so far in the bottom of this first inning. 0-1 the count on Payette.
Ou un ballon dans le... Oh non, devrait être facilement manié. Et voilà. Le troisième retrait.
Yeah, Willen able to get out underneath that ball and make the catch, but as we said, 2 runs on 3 hits. There was 1 Alberta error and one runner left on base. We'll go to the second with Team Alberta trailing by a score of 2-0. Due up for Alberta. It's the middle of the order, Tyra Stanich, Caitlin Ross, and Julianne Scott. And I missed this part of it, so I'm going to do all of them here really quickly. We need to thank some sponsors, including Baseball Canada. And, of course, this is a Baseball Canada event, so they're doing their part to help make sure that this event happens, as well as Eastlink Community
merci
Channel.
à Eastlink pour votre contribution.
And their sponsorship. And it's all because of Cecil and Dan.
Oui, sans
else at
Cecil et
Eastlink
Dan,
does anything.
il ne se passe rien sur le terrain.
Yeah, they do all of the work. And also, one more sponsor we need to mention at this time, and you're a part of this organization, so you can tell us how great this organization is, Hammonds Plains Minor Baseball.
Le baseball de Hammonds Plains, encore là, le bébé de Holly Blanchette, qui est l'organisatrice de ce tournoi. On est très choyé avec Hammonds Plains, très bien organisé. On a de bons terrains qui sont toujours bien entretenus. Très chanceux d'avoir une organisation de baseball à Hammonds Plains.
And, you know, it's got teams from adult all the way right down to the little ones.
Tout à fait. Le programme commence dans le développement très tôt. Un bon programme féminin également. Donc, évidemment, on est ici pour du baseball féminin, mais plusieurs équipes au niveau du 12U, du 14U et du 16U. Les chiffres pairs indiquent les équipes féminines. C'est une organisation qui croît beaucoup. On a beaucoup de croissance, on a beaucoup de joueurs, de joueuses également qui viennent de régions un petit peu plus éloignées, qui n'ont pas de baseball dans leur territoire pour venir jouer à Hammonds Plains.
As we get ready for the start of the second inning, Tyra Stanich will step in first. She's the left-hander, or sorry, the right-hander, but the left fielder is what I was starting to say, and then I went and messed myself up. Stanich from Calgary. The beautiful city of Calgary.
C'est une très belle ville, Calgary, je suis d'accord.
And if my Uncle Bobby from Calgary is watching, hey Bob, how you doing? My mom's second youngest brother. My mom is the second oldest of 5, and Bobby lives in Calgary. Her next older brother, Johnny, who would be the third out of the 5, lives in St. Albert, so my Alberta connections there.
Et voilà. Oh, fausse balle, je crois. Il n'y aura pas de jeu là-dessus.
That one might have hit the beer tent.
La beer tent est occupée plus avec des fausses balles qu'avec des clients, on dirait.
Speaking of which, thank you for the beer last night.
Ah,
That
il n'y a
was
pas de
wonderful.
problème. Il n'y a pas de problème. Un petit merci de Mike pour m'avoir supporté dans mes premières expériences comme commentateur. Mais, donc, un petit moyen de dire merci.
Just remember, if RDS comes calling or Radio Canada comes calling, just remember who got you there.
Je vais t'envoyer une caisse à ce moment-là. Ça m'étonnerait que RDS vienne me chercher. Ils ont de très bons animateurs.
That one misses high. The count goes to 3-2 on Stanich here, leading off the top of inning number 2. And we once again remind you that there's one more game left over on Weir Field, so you can swing over there. But stay here with us.
Bon combat de Stanich là-dessus pour se mériter le but sur balle.
Lead-off walk. Puts a runner on for Caitlin Ross, a chance to help out her own cause here as the starting pitcher for Team Alberta. That game over at Weir Field will be Ontario 1 taking on Saskatchewan for 5th and 6th place in the tournament, and that game getting started a little less than an hour from now. So stick around with us until that game starts, and then open 2 windows, watch both at once, and leave our volume up.
On est définitivement plus intéressant. Rien contre Vern.
And Vern's going to have Chase with him, so Chase getting more experience. He's like we said before, he's one of those ones that we're going to be able to say we knew him.
On va le voir. Un jour sur TSN, Chase a de plus de chances que moi, je vais te dire, de se rendre là.
0-1 the count here on Caitlin Ross. As Dumoulin delivers.
Beau lancer.
A strike there from Dumoulin.
Délicat Dumoulin, une athlète qui vient de l'Épiphanie.
Just 19 years old, Dumoulin here on the senior Quebec team, or the A team for Quebec, if you want to call them that. They're called Quebec 1, but they're the major senior team for the province.
Oh.
And Dumoulin comes off the mound to make the catch there for out number 1.
Je pense que c'était la seule option là-dessus. Là. Depuis le début du tournoi, je parle du fait que les lanceurs ne devraient pas essayer d'attraper des ballons, mais je crois qu'elle n'avait pas le choix là-dessus.
When it's that far into the front of the infield, I'm okay with the pitcher.
Entre le monticule et le marbre, ouais, je suis tout à fait. Mais je suis toujours de l'avis que des lanceurs ne devraient pas attraper des ballons. C'est pas facile de descendre du monticule.
Yeah. You know, you got a guy like David Wells maybe trying to come off the mound. I don't think he'd be able to, but
non, il tomberait.
But when you've got someone with, like you said, the athleticism of Dumoulin, let her go and get it. Brings up Julianne Scott. She's the catcher for Alberta today. Comes up with 1 on, 1 out, and has 1 strike against her. Runner going. The hit and run was on.
Oh! Beau jeu de Fournier, garder la balle en jeu, et le lancer sera un peu en retard.
Not in time, but not by any lack of effort or lack of skill from Fournier. She made that play a lot closer than it should have been.
Tout à fait, tout à fait. Plongeons vers sa gauche, sa droite, c'est-à-dire, pour une joueuse qui porte son gant au côté gauche, elle va l'attraper sur son revers, se soulever, faire un lancer qui était serré, mais la coureuse a pu s'y rendre.
And Julianne Scott, she may be a catcher, but she got down that line in a hurry.
Tout à fait. Je pense que plusieurs des receveuses qu'on a vues dans le tournoi sont très athlétiques.
It's the new type of catcher who is not the Alejandro Kirk body type. Although I'm not one to talk.
Ah, ouais, c'est ça. Kirk, je suis peut-être pas aussi lourd que Kirk, mais je suis pas loin.
1-0 the count now on Sydney Berry, the third baseman for Alberta today. And with the runner going, there was never going to be a chance at second base
Tout à
either.
fait. Le frappé court est en fonction et puis c'était bien exécuté par l'Alberta.
2-0 now the count here on Berry.
Si Fournier n'attrape pas cette balle, par contre, la coureuse se rend au 3e facilement.
Dumoulin with a look back. Now she'll deliver.
Oh, voici la
Runner
coureuse.
going again.
Oh! Jeu serré. Un peu malheureux. Je crois que si ça a été capté par le troisième but, on aurait eu possiblement une chance de retrait.
Shelena almost able to get her glove on that ball, but not quite able to make the catch. So the double steal executed, and the count goes to 3-0 as that pitch just missed the zone as well.
Alberta qui menace.
Dumoulin steps off, and they need to threaten here in the second inning after giving up 2 in the top of the first.
Écoute, on doit construire nos points là où on peut. Oh, beau lancer du Dumoulin.
There's a strike, and the count goes to 3-1. I see you've got the sheets for Quebec that we didn't have.
Mais oui, Vern les avait, donc je les ai empruntés, on va dire. Sachant que Vern ne verrait pas cette équipe aujourd'hui. C'est pas toutes les filles qui ont rempli leur bio, malheureusement, mais on commence à en avoir.
As another pitch in the zone for a strike, 3-2 the count now with 1 away here in the top of the second inning. That will be over to the second baseman, David Bedard. But it does drive in a run, so a productive out for Sydney Berry, the RBI, on the ground out to second baseman Ella Bedard. Tyra Stanich comes in to score.
C'était vraiment le seul jeu que Bedard avait pour compléter le retrait.
And Scott able to get over to third base on the play as well, so the potential tying run, although it's a little early to talk about potential tying runs and whatnot, as we're only in the second inning. And the first pitch to Sadie Jesperson, the second baseman for Team Alberta, in for a strike. So 0-1 the count on her with 2 away here in inning number 2. Swing and a miss.
Beau lancer du Dumoulin là-dessus.
And it's now 0-2. Oh. Now, on Game Changer, they only have it as a 1-1 score right now. I'm sure there were 2 runs scored in the bottom
il y a
of that
définitivement
first.
eu deux points. On le voit aussi au tableau ici, donc peut-être une erreur au niveau de Game Changer.
Okay, as long as I didn't miss something getting pulled off the board.
Tout à fait eu 2 points marqués.
So if you are following along on Game Changer while watching it and you see a discrepancy, we do have the correct score, 2-1. And Game Changer, somebody made an error somewhere for there. And Bedard, her 4th assist on a ground out so far in this game. But Alberta does get 1 of the 2 runs back. They get 1 run on 1 hit. There were no errors. And 1 runner left on base. We'll head to the bottom of inning number 2 and do up for Quebec in the bottom.
Ça sera Sophie Gagné, le frappeur désigné, Justine Marin, suivi de Lucie Anctil, et si on s'y rend, ce sera Sana Cateral qui sera la 4e frappeuse.
And the bottom of the second inning brought to you by the host province for this tournament, the province of Nova Scotia, and of course, as we've said before, events like this can't take place without government support, so we are very grateful to the province for their support in helping to make this tournament happen.
Oui, tout à fait.
And while
Comme
we're
tu disais plus tôt, c'est une province qui s'implique beaucoup à ce niveau-là.
While we're talking about tournaments, there's a few coming up here for Baseball Canada, one of which is in La Belle Province at the end of August, the Ray Carter Cup, which is the 15U boys National Championship Tournament, will be in Laval, Quebec, the beautiful community of Laval, from August 24th to 27th. While we're talking about female baseball, though, there are 2 other Baseball Canada women's events. The 21U event will be in St. John's, Newfoundland from August 10th to 13th. And the 16U event will be in Summerside, PEI from August 24th to 27th. So Atlantic Canada getting to host all 3 women's events this year. And just showing how popular women's baseball is here in this part of the country.
Tout à fait. d'avoir été un membre du baseball féminin ici dans la province en tant qu'entraîneur et voyager partout dans la belle province. La passion des jeunes joueuses très, très, très active dans notre belle communauté.
And we're going to run you through some of those other events. We'll talk about them a little bit later on. But right now, Sophie Gagné, the designated hitter for Quebec, steps in and takes the first pitch strike.
Sophie est une athlète de 21 ans qui vient de Sainte-Martine.
Now, Sainte-Martine, that would be outside Quebec City?
No. Voyons, Sainte-Martine, je m'en souviens plus. I'll have to remember that one, sorry.
You didn't know you were going to have to take a geography test, did you? 1-1 the count here on Gagné. We'll forgive you after living in Nova Scotia for a couple of years.
Ouais, c'est ça, c'est ça. La province de Québec, c'est quand même assez grand.
That is true, that is true.
Je vais sûrement recevoir un texte de mon frère dans quelques instants me disant qu'il a honte de moi, mais là.
1 ball, 2 strikes on the DH. And that one ends up going behind Gagné. So the count now 2-2 to the leadoff batter for this second inning for Quebec, leading it 2-1 here. 2 runs in the bottom of the first for Quebec, 1 run in the top of the second for Alberta, bringing us to where we stand now. And Ross delivers, and that one launched out to right center field. Coming over, making the catch is Matlock.
Toujours fiable, ce Matlock. Elle joue très bien de cette position au champ-centre.
And that will bring up Justine Marin, the right fielder. When I was talking to the coaches from Baseball Canada, the national women's team, and of course, they will be making the announcement of the women's national team to represent Canada in Thunder Bay in a couple of weeks, 2 hours after the conclusion of the gold medal game. They plan to have 2 hours to take a meeting, sit down and make those final decisions. You can guess.
3 heures du matin cette nuit.
You can guess they've probably got maybe 14 or 15 out of the 20 players who are pretty much locked in at this point.
Comme on disait plus tôt dans le dernier match, de 16, 14 jusqu'à 24, ça se brouille. Ça peut être une ou l'autre. Puis des fois, c'est tout simplement une lanceuse gauchère ou bien une receveur de plus. Des fois, c'est la position qui va déterminer la sélection de la joueuse.
And I do not envy them, these decisions in
non,
any
non.
way.
Les athlètes qu'on a vus dans tout le tournoi ici pour représenter le Canada, n'importe lesquelles des filles ici seraient bien appréciées dans l'équipe, j'en suis certain.
As we get a 1-out walk to Justine Marin, that will bring Lucy Antil up to bat. Antil, the catcher for Team Quebec. As the Batgirl going out there doing a good job collecting the old hardware.
Oui, je suis très fier de la Batgirl. On va dire bonjour à ma fille Béatrice qui fait le rôle aujourd'hui.
She's having so much fun this week.
Oui, tout à fait. Dans le tournoi, elle a pris tellement de responsabilités. Non seulement c'est la bad girl, mais c'est la fille qui fait le moitié-moitié. C'est la fille qui prend les billets à l'entrée. C'est le right-hand woman, si on veut, le bras droit de Holly à plusieurs endroits. Donc, elle était déçue qu'on n'a pas pu être ici plus tôt aujourd'hui. Elle veut passer ses journées ici jusqu'à la fin. Bravo à Béatrice.
0-1 the count here on Antil with 1 on, 1 out. Bottom of the second inning. Throw over to first, and Marin able to get back in under the tag. As taking a quick look at the feed from Weir Field, the Saskatchewan team starting their warm-ups out there in the field, I see. That should be a very entertaining game as well. Saskatchewan and Ontario won. Back to first, second for one, not in time to turn the double play.
Encore là, la receveuse qui bat le lancer. Il y a du bon travail.
So the force out at second will retire Marin. And Till will take over that spot at first base, and will bring us back around to the top of the order. Sina Catterall, who flew out to center her first time up, one of the outs gathered in by that center fielder Matlock. Matlock's on the case, if you remember the old show with Andy Griffith. I'm not going to take credit for that. I stole it from the Eastlink guys who used it last night.
Il y a des sauts. Oh, on est passé sous le tag, comme on dit. La balle était là, la balle était bien reçue, mais un beau jeu de course d'Anctil là-dessus pour se rendre au deuxième.
If I'm Team Quebec right now, I'm not sure I want to keep trying to test that arm because it's going to come back.
Ça va, à un certain moment, ça va arriver. J'en suis certaine si on continue à voler comme ça ils vont se faire prendre très très bons bras au receveur.
But at the same time, you don't want to get away from your own game plan.
Non. Je crois qu'ils veulent jouer agressivement. Ils veulent s'assurer de se rendre en finale. C'est vraiment ce qui est important pour eux. Et puis, je suis très confiant que Vincent Gagnon ne changera pas sa stratégie.
As we get set here, there's a time called. Didn't see quite... I think time was actually called by Scott as she...
Oui, je crois que Scott a peut-être été blessé. Elle semble un peu rigide dans son mouvement.
Ross gets herself set, ready for the 1-1 pitch here to the center fielder for Quebec. That'll miss high. 2-1 now. Again, quick reminder, the start times for the games coming up this evening, 5 o'clock, the scheduled start time for the bronze medal game, 8 o'clock, the scheduled start time for the gold medal game. And of course, that is partially dependent on the length of each of these games before.
Toujours.
That one will drop in.
Anctil qui a des bonnes jambes, court très fort, devrait s'y rendre facilement. Et voilà.
And it's now 3-1 for Quebec. So the RBI for Catterall on that single. That'll bring up Alex and Fournier. Fournier singled and came around to score the first run of the game.
Fait un bel attrapé à l'arrêt court également, Fournier.
We do know that the bronze medal game will not start before 5 o'clock because Eastlink is going to be televising that game, so we can't start early. But if this game runs long or if things happen, we might, knock on wood that it doesn't happen, but might have to start after 5. And the gold medal game, 8 o'clock right now, the tentative start again, but it might have to move depending on the length of the bronze medal game.
Et toujours si la météo nous permet de jouer le match, c'est couvert aujourd'hui. Donc, je suis sûr que les athlètes sont... L'apprécient qu'il fait moins chaud sur le terrain, mais on a eu beaucoup de pluie hier soir, fait qu'on ne sait jamais si on va en avoir d'autres.
When you consider a tournament of this length, 4 full days in an Atlantic setting, the fact that we've only had one rain delay, and that wasn't even a delay as much as it was just it is a delay because we didn't start on time because of the rains overnight. We've been very lucky.
Ah oui, il y a pas eu, on a eu des très très belles journées. Les 3 dernières journées ont été magnifiques. Il faisait chaud, très chaud. Mais oui, je pense que tu as raison. On n'a pas eu vraiment de gros délais. La pluie qui a tombé pendant la nuit, mais qui a quand même tombé assez intensément. On a travaillé très fort ce matin pour mettre le terrain en ordre et pour qu'on puisse bien jouer aujourd'hui.
Which just shows that Holly can boss everybody around, including Mother Nature. Andréane Leblanc up to bat. She's 0 for 1, grounded out to the second baseman Jesperson, her first time up. Comes up here with runners on first and second and 2 away, and takes the second pitch low. So the count now 1-1 on Leblanc.
Athlète de 22 ans, Andréane Leblanc.
And again, we talk about this being the senior Quebec team as opposed to Quebec 2, which was the development team, but this still a very young team. At 22, she's one of the older players on this team.
Oui, tout à fait. On a les 2 clubs du Québec très jeunes. Oui, je crois que 22 ans, c'est la doyenne de l'équipe. Beaucoup de potentiel au Québec. Puis malgré que c'est toutes des athlètes avec énorme d'expérience, là, elle a 22 ans, mais je crois qu'elle avait 14 ou 15 ans d'expérience au baseball. C'est vraiment formidable de voir le continu, le suivi de son expérience.
That one fouled straight back, and it ends up going
au travers du filet. Il y a un petit espace entre les filets et les poteaux qui tiennent les filets ici au terrain. La balle est passée clairement au travers.
So now 0-2, the count on LeBlanc. And Ross gets herself set and delivers.
À l'extérieur, je crois.
1-2, the count. That's okay, Cecil. If you couldn't, if you heard that, that was Cecil Wright from Eastlink calling, trying to get Holly Blanchette's attention.
Fix it so that we can talk to Jim Baba, like in the third inning of game 1.
That
La
one
balle de basse, double vol. Scott a eu du mal à contrôler cette balle. Début facilement volé.
As Quebec continues their aggressiveness on the base path.
On court aujourd'hui, je pense. C'est la leçon qu'on a appris avec le Québec à date. On court souvent et on court tout le temps.
As with the cloud cover we've got, it's hard to know which pair of glasses to have on at what time. Time to switch.
J'ai abandonné, j'en porte aucune aujourd'hui.
Time to switch from the sunglasses back to the regular glasses as the sun hiding behind some clouds here for at least a few minutes. A fair bit of cloud coverage here today, but fingers crossed that rains hold off.
Oui, je suis d'accord.
That one, a line shot all the way to the...
Ça marquera deux coureuses. Et voici l'agressivité au but qui mène à des points. Très beau travail pour l'équipe Québec de manufacturer, de fabriquer ces points. Et une belle claque de Leblanc.
A big 2 RBI double for Andréane Leblanc makes it now 5-1 for Team Quebec 1. And that will bring up Élisée Jalena. She drove in the first run of the game and then came around to score herself back in that 2-run first inning, and now is back up here in the second with a chance to drive in another one with Andréane Leblanc in scoring position. And in the event that Quebec does play BC, they did meet earlier in the tournament, obviously both being in Pool A. British Columbia ended up winning that game. And if British Columbia ends up playing Alberta, they ended up winning that game as well. So,
la seule équipe qui a battu le BC, c'est Ontario. Et comme on le disait dans la dernière transmission, sur un grand chelem. Donc, quand même... un événement un petit peu cocasse pour gagner le match.
So I was going to ask if their Grand Slam sounds almost exactly the same.
C'est presque la même chose. C'est un chelem en français.
Foul tip and
une autre balle qui frappe Scott d'aplomb.
And if you missed the first semifinal, a similar play in the first inning of the game between BC and Nova Scotia. The ball ended up coming up and hitting Ali Stymis in the throat, and she was down for a bit, but stayed in the game. Ended up moving out to left field, did not finish the game behind the plate, moved out to left field after that play.
Magnifique attrapé dans le champ gauche.
And then, yes, that great play that she made there. And then was rewarded with a well-deserved player of the game.
C'était la joueuse du match, tout à fait, oui. Mérité, tout à fait. Montrer sa dédicace vers son équipe. Des fois, on mène par l'exemple. Et je pense que Steinmetz a fait vraiment ça aujourd'hui.
And it was just shows the depth that every team needs to have at catcher, that she was able to go out from behind the plate, and Nova Scotia really didn't miss a step by putting Leah Copeland back there afterwards.
Tout à fait. Copeland, une excellente receveuse également, fait du bon travail. Ça devrait mettre la fin à la manche.
As that will end the inning as Sadie Jesperson able to gather that ball in and throw it over to first for the third out, but not before Quebec adds to their lead. There were 3 runs on 3 hits. There was no errors, excuse me, and 1 runner left on base. We'll go to the third with Quebec leading Alberta now by a score of 5-1. Due up for Alberta in the top of the third. It'll be 9-1-2. Cassidy Gervais, Ava Greiner, and Cassie Matlock due up for Alberta. And the top of the third is time for us to say thank you to Hubble for their support. I don't think that's the telescope manufacturers.
Bonjour! On dit bonjour au télescope Hubble. Mais non, félicitations et merci à Hubble.
As I see the official scorer coming over here to check on something. Wow.
Et voilà, on est fiable.
As we did see that there were some issues going on with Game Changer, and I'm sure it is not user error. It's we've been saying all weekend long how great a job everybody over in that other building, who are the official scorers and the pitch count operators and everything else. Pardon? Yes.
Et on m'a demandé plutôt Sainte-Martine, leur endroit m'échappait, mais je m'en souviens maintenant. Mon fils jouait au hockey souvent contre l'équipe de Sainte-Martine. C'est sur la rive sud de Montréal. Désolé aux citoyens de Sainte-Martine, un petit blanc de mémoire.
I'm afraid I didn't quite catch that, but I know you were telling us about Saint Martin or Saint Martin and where it is. No, G63, grounder, shortstop. Yeah. Understandable. He's having trouble reading my writing because nobody can read my writing.
Now batting for number 33, Cassidy Gervais.
That'll bring up Cassidy Gervais to lead things off here in the top of inning number 3.
Notre annonceur maison, Jean-Marc, qui est là pour évidemment s'assurer que le français soit bien prononcé.
Swing and a miss.
Gervais de l'Alberta préfère Gervais, donc on respecte leur choix de décision.
Alberta does have its French population, not nearly as big as some other provinces within the country.
Tout à fait. Girouville, je crois.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, Girouville and Falaire, that area in the Peace Country, yeah.
Ouais, près de Peace River.
Yeah. Played a lot of hockey against Falaire growing up.
2 balles, 1 prise. Dumoulin toujours est rendu environ à 52 lancés, si je ne me trompe pas.
The 2-1 pitch swung on and missed, and the count goes to 2-2.
Non, je m'excuse. 38 lancés, donc moins que je croyais. Je regardais le tableau de l'autre côté.
That one misses just a little bit high, and the count runs full on the leadoff batter for Alberta in this inning. And then it'll be the leadoff batter in the order coming up right afterwards. And that one misses high, so ball 4. Cassidy Gervais earns a leadoff walk. Brings us back around to the top of the order. Ava Greiner, who grounded out to second her first time up. Pop out to the pitcher, F1.
Seulement qu'un athlète de 17 ans qui vient de Stettler en Alberta.
Stettler down just east of Red Deer, just west of Red Deer. Not far from Red Deer, one side or the other.
C'est là qu'ils vont faire leur épicerie, chez Red Deer, ce que tu me dis. Le Costco local est à Red Deer.
And of course, Red Deer, home to the beautiful Red Deer College, one of the nicest college facilities good friend of mine went to Red Deer College. I went down to visit him one weekend, and it was a beautiful, beautiful campus they have there. Swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1-2. Grounder 4-3 RBI. So runner on first, nobody out here. Time called by Griner.
La tête préférée de Griner est de Beau Bichette, qui est sûrement populaire avec plusieurs joueuses féminines, je crois.
Similar hairstyles, I
Ouais,
see.
ouais. Beaucoup de produits dans les cheveux de Beau Bichette, j'en suis certain.
Grounder gathered up by Debadar, and yet again another defensive assist for Ella Debadar. That is her 5th already in this game, and we're just 1 out in the top of the 3rd. Brings up, or excuse me, her 5e.
Et voilà, très bien.
Brings up Cassie Matlock.
Rendu ce soir, là, on va changer de place. Mike va faire le color en français, puis moi je ferai la description en anglais.
The accent might be terrible, but the pronunciation, but the wording is correct.
Le prof de maths connaît les chiffres, j'en suis certain.
Cassie Matlock was one of those 5 people who have grounded out to, that would be grounder, a fielder's choice to the pitcher, and then she got on safely on that fielder's choice. Yeah, Marin was out, and until gets to first base safely.
Oh, beau lancer. Une courbe qui tombe dans la zone des prises, vraiment bien faite.
And I missed how Gervais got to second base. That would have been on the ground out to Debadard, right? Yes.
C'était un fielder's choice, c'est ça.
Yeah. Foul tip, and the count goes to 1-2. So if you are following along on Game Changer, we are getting caught up as, again, there were some technical issues with the app earlier in the game, but we're getting there. That one
frappé faiblement. Payette contrôle très facilement.
And good heads-up running by Gervais to have that.
Rester au deuxième là-dessus. La balle n'était pas frappée très fort, facilement maniée par Payette là-dessus.
And that'll bring up Madison Willen. She grounded out to short her first time up, so 0 for 1 so far on the day.
Number 6, Madison Willen.
Une athlète de 22 ans, originaire de Edmonton. Sûrement une fan de Connor McDavid.
Hard to argue against that logic either. I've heard he's going to be a good player someday.
Ouais, j'entends de bonnes choses de ce jeune homme, M. McDavid. Beau lancer.
And by all accounts, from what I've heard too, a real classy guy off the ice as well.
Il semble être un gars très, très génial. Je suis d'accord avec toi.
0-1 the count here on Connor McDavid's big fan.
Rappel à la cour Fournier. Il récupère bien la balle. Beau lancer et le retrait. Aucun dommage. Une coureuse laissée sur les buts.
No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 runner left on base after the leadoff walk. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd with Quebec leading by a score of 5-1. And we're just going to move the book quickly here to let Eric tell you who will be hitting in the bottom of the 3rd.
Et en la 3e, on va commencer avec Ella Debadar qui frappe au 5e rang, Emma Rose Payette, Sophie Gagné et si on s'y rend, Justine Marin.
And the bottom of the 3rd inning brought to you by Master Tech HVAC and Plumbing.
On voit pas ce que Mike fait, mais il tient son
grounder 4-3,
sa
liner
liste de
to
marqueurs,
1.
et puis on
So
lui
liner back
partage
to the
les
pitcher.
renseignements avec le marqueur officiel du match qui a eu un problème technique et voici qui vient se rattraper des données qu'on a cumulées. Souhaitons qu'on n'a pas fait d'erreur, mais je crois qu'on est bon.
Yeah, grounder 6-3, yeah.
Lanceuse Caitlin Ross qui sort encore pour sa troisième manche. Elle est à environ 52 lancés, si je me trompe, si je vois bien le cadran des lancers, qui est un peu en biais de ce qu'on peut voir.
And I take it as a huge compliment.
Ouais. Je suis d'accord.
That, you know, when they're having technical issues, they come to my book to get the official scoring caught up again.
C'est la qualité que tu livres, Mike.
It may be messy, but it's accurate. And I have to thank you partially for my ability to do this, because if I don't have somebody working with me, trying to do the broadcast by myself while at the same time keeping my book up to date, extra challenging. So thank you again for...
C'est un travail d'équipe comme le baseball.
Is it home run
frappé
number
loin.
2?
Oh, elle est à la clôture et capté. Débédard a vraiment frappé ça très loin. une petite ricane en passant à côté de la lanceur aussi qui a dit belle claque. Les filles sont bien amusées.
I don't know what the phrase would be en français, but the launch angle just a little bit too
Oh,
high.
c'est ça. L'angle de frapper un peu trop haut. C'est la très grande paillette au bâton.
If that launch angle was just a little bit lower, that ball is making it out of the park for sure.
Mais à la clôture, on a dû vraiment pousser la défensive au plus loin qu'il pouvait aller.
That brings up Payette, as you mentioned. She's 0 for 1, popped out to the shortstop her first time up.
Eh oui.
Takes a strike in the count 0-2. The disadvantage of being the biggest player in the tournament is that your strike zone's that much bigger.
Oh, oui, c'est ça. Hein?
You have that much more area that you have to cover and protect. That one misses low.
Mais t'as les bras plus longs aussi pour le faire. Donc,
Or 1-2 now after that one misses low. And as I was saying before, the guys over there who are doing all of those.
ça devrait. Ça tombe peut-être. Oh!
Stanich almost with a great grab out there as that ball was coming into shallow left field. But it ends up being a single for Emma Rose Payette. That'll make it 1 on, 1 out for Sophie Gagné. She flew out to Matlock out in center her first time up.
Et voilà. Coureuse au premier.
As I was starting to say, all of the guys over there, the official scorers, the PA announcers, the pitch count trackers, they're all doing a great job this weekend. And, you know, those are the off-field officials that you sometimes forget about, but they are so crucial to the success.
Je suis d'accord. On a fait des remerciements à plusieurs des gens qui nous supportent dans ce tournoi, mais il ne faut jamais les oublier, eux autres également. Ils ont des responsabilités très officielles. Donc, et voilà.
0-1 the count now on Sophie Gagné, the designated hitter for Quebec. 1 on, 1 out here, bottom of the third inning. Throw over to first, and Payette.
Payette a retiré son bras. Il a remis, heureusement que la joueuse de premier but avait retiré le tag, que ça aurait pu faire mal.
And we saw that in one of the games yesterday. A player took their hand off the bag to put their foot on it, and during that brief amount of time where there was no contact, the tag was made.
Harley McCauley qui s'est fait prendre par Baker, qui avait fait un faux lancer vers le lanceur. C'était le hidden ball trick.
Yeah.
Oh, on a entendu Gagné qui s'est forcé sur ce lancer. On a entendu le grunt, comme on dit.
And it brings the count to 0-2. And if Gagné had made contact,
je crois que ça a voyagé quand même assez loin. C'était tout un élan. Qu'on puisse entendre son effort d'ici.
Ross gets herself set and delivers. And that one misses just a bit low now, 1-2.
Scott joue très bien, bien bloqué cette balle.
And like we said before, so many of the catchers have been so good in this tournament.
Il faut, le backstop est loin, donc une balle passée voyage un bon 45 pieds derrière la receveur. Oh,
Swing and a miss, or a
Gagné.
foul tip and a miss, or foul tip, and either way it's a strikeout if I know
voilà,
how to say it. Surprisingly, that's
Gagné
the
qui-
first strikeout
Ah ouais.
for Ross in this game.
Comme on le dit, les bâtons de Québec ont été très bons à date. Donc, un peu surpris qu'on soit rendu en fin de troisième pour voir la première être sur les prises, mais et voilà.
So that brings up Justine Marin. She walked and then was retired on a fielder's choice.
Athlète qui provient de l'Assomption.
Owen won the count after that ball pulled foul. Runner going.
Oh, ouais, le bon n'a pas été favorable pour le deuxième but, ou l'arrêt-court, c'est-à-dire qui couvrait sur le lancer du receveur. Il permet à Payette de glisser au deuxième.
Willen not quite able to get her glove on that one.
Mhm.
But again, that just shows Julianne Scott has the arm. That if Quebec continues to stay aggressive and they are showing no sign of slowing down, Scott is...
Oh, bien frappé. Marin claque la balle et voici que le vol de but de Payette est important. On attend et Marin sera en deuxième. Beau double.
An RBI for Justine Marin on the double.
Frappé dans le gap, comme on dit. Je suis pas certain du terme gap en français, là, mais...
The store name stays the same. So
Et
I'm sure
voilà,
the
je suis
word-
sûr, je suis sûr.
And that makes it now 6-1 for Quebec.
Vladimir Rose, Lucie Antil.
That'll bring up Antil. Antil grounded into a fielder's choice and reached on the fielder's choice and then came around to score. And takes a first pitch strike,
Joue un
0-1.
bon match Anctil également. Il étudie le business management pour reprendre l'entreprise familiale de ses parents. Donc, se prépare bien à faire la succession de ses parents.
That pitch misses high, 1-1 the count. ...15 years experience playing baseball.
Dans l'allée. Et voilà, mon frère qui vient me chercher dans l'allée pour le gap. Merci, Jean-Pierre. Oh, une autre balle dans l'allée! Timely, timely. Et voilà, Marin qui vient compter et Anctil qui vient prendre sa place au deuxième. Et voilà.
As Quebec trying to put their stamp on this game in a big way here in the third. They scored 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 2 more here in the third, and they're still going with 2 away. And we're in the third inning, and Sina Catarol will make her third plate appearance as we get back to the top of the order again. She's 1 for 2.
Visite
With
de l'entraîneur. Est-ce qu'on voit la fin de Scott là-dessus?
Catarol 1 for 2 with a single, an RBI, and a run scored. And I haven't seen anybody warming up for Alberta, so I think this is just a visit to try and settle things down and Seven runs on 9 hits for Team Quebec, 1 run on 1 hit for Alberta to this point in the game.
Maintenant, au bâton, le numéro 5, Sénat, 4 heures.
As we're approaching about 5 minutes until the start of that 5th and 6th place game between Ontario and Saskatchewan.
Oh, un peu à l'extérieur.
And like I said, keep 2 windows open so you can watch both games at once, but keep our volume up.
Sans enlever à Vern et Chase.
Yeah.
Ou un ballon qui doit... Oh, l'arrêt court devrait l'avoir facilement. Et voilà, la fin de cette manche.
Willen able to cap underneath it, but Quebec extends their lead. 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. We played 3 complete here at Mainland Commons in Halifax, and it is Team Quebec leading Alberta by a score of 7-1. Due up in the top of the 4th for Team Alberta, it's the middle of the order, Tyra Stanich, Caitlin Ross, and Julianne Scott. If anyone gets on, then it'll be Sydney Barry for Alberta. And the top of the 4th inning, if we had it, we would play for you a Sport Canada commercial, but we don't have it, so we'll just say thank you to Sport Canada for their support.
Si tu veux.
And I'm just going to turn my microphone down here for a second to get a bit of a drink on this humid day.
Dumoulin qui retourne au monticule pour la 3e. On entend Jean-Marc, notre annonceur maison.
Sounded like he just announced a pitch count of 16. That can't be right.
Ça me semble pas. Non, il me semble qu'on a vu beaucoup de balles, beaucoup de lancers dans cette manche pour Scott.
Or maybe I misheard. I'll give the benefit of... No, pitch count is 60.
60, voilà. 60. C'est la dernière journée, peut-être pas le dernier match, mais je crois qu'on va voir toutes les lanceuses aller au maximum de ce qu'ils peuvent livrer afin de, évidemment, gagner le match, mais aussi maximiser ce qui lui reste. On ne veut rien laisser dans le réservoir, comme on dit.
And we talked about it right from day one, how important pitching depth was, how important managing your pitchers were, so that you could get the right people in the right situations in the games yesterday and today, the ones that, you know, I put it in quotes, but matter more. You know, we've seen stellar pitching performances because the right pitchers have been on the mounds at the right time.
Tout à fait.
That pitch will miss down low. 1-0 the count on Tyra Stanich. Stanich walked and scored Alberta's only run. That coming back in the 2nd inning.
La tête de 20 ans, Stanich, originaire de Calgary.
Grounder to 3rd. Throw across in time. It looked like a bit of a double clutch there by Jelena, but she was able to get settled and get the ball across in time.
Oui, tout à fait. Lisée fait un beau lancer au travers du terrain, bien capté par Payette encore, très sûr au premier but. Payette, je crois qu'une des meilleures à date qu'on a vues au premier en défensive avec Baker du Manitoba aussi, qui a été très très bonne. Amber Baker.
That one is a bit of a delayed call, but we get the call of a strike, so 0-1 the count. And there was another Baker who also played first base, who also has been very good defensively, and I'm trying to remember for which team that was. There was Amber Baker, and there was another Baker. Where am I looking here? When I find her, it'll be...
Frappé profondément, bien capté par le blanc.
Another one of those situations where the outfielder barely has to move because they're positioned just about perfectly.
Charmaine Gervais a fait une belle claque là-dessus, mais comme tu le dis.
It wasn't Baker, it was Barry was her last name. Sydney Barry for this Alberta team. She's not playing first base today, she's playing third base. But she was very good at first base in the game yesterday. First
Déjà
pitch
deux retraits pour
to...
Dumoulin, une manche peu de lancers à date.
Brings up Julianne Scott. Scott singled in the second inning.
Oh, peut-être quand Steele a vendu celle-là un peu, son framing était très bon.
Here comes the next delivery from Dumoulin. Pulled foul. 0-2 the count on Scott. And they are just getting underway at Weir Field, Saskatchewan and Ontario.
Oh, ça va tomber en lieu sûr.
That one-out single will put Julianne Scott on for Sydney Berry.
Que tu mentionnais plus tôt.
Berry drove in the only run of the game for Alberta so far. She grounded out to second, but Stanich was able to score on that play.
Now batting number 26, Sydney Barry.
Originaire du Fort McMurray. Son joueur préféré est Aaron Judge.
We talked about this before, how some of these teams have to travel so far to get together. You talk about Barry being from Fort McMurray, and you've got Stanich from Calgary. For those two to come together at each other's homes, it would be an 11-hour drive to go from one to the other. Which is probably why most of the time the team, if they do end up meeting, they meet in Edmonton.
Tout le monde dans le milieu.
No runs. The one hit did come with 2 outs, but it was quickly negated. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th.
Très peu de lancers de Dumoulin dans cette manche. Si j'ai bien compté, peut-être 12, 13.
Yeah, she has been very, very efficient indeed. In the bottom of the 4th for Quebec as they lead 7-1, it will be...
Alexandre Fournier, qui frappe au deuxième rang, qui sera notre première de la manche. Audrey-Anne Leblanc, qui suivra. Ensuite, Élisée Gélina. Ici, on s'y rend. L.A.D. Bédard.
And if Dave Bedard does come up in this inning again, last time she was up, it was a deep, deep fly ball to center field.
Elle a frappé de très bonnes balles dans ce tournoi. Sa première balle était au champ opposé de son circuit, donc vraiment incroyable comme athlète.
And we are going into the bottom of the 4th, which means it's time to once again thank the proud contributor Oxford Learning for their support of this event. And we've talked about some of the other Baseball Canada events. Let's take you through some of the others that we haven't mentioned, and we'll start with the youngest ones. The U13 or the 13U National Championship Tournament will be held in Woodstock, Ontario, from August 24th to 27th. We mentioned the Ray Carter Cup, the 15U Baseball Canada Championship event. That's August 24th to 27th in Laval. The 17U, which is the Baseball Canada Cup, will be in the beautiful city of Regina from August 9th to 13th. The 18U men's event, we just talked about Fort McMurray. Well, they're hosting that one from August 17th to 20th. The 22U men's championship will be August 3rd to 6th in Stonewall, Manitoba. And then the senior men's championship tournament in Red Deer, Alberta from August 24th to 27th. And along with the national championship for 13U, there is also a club regional championship for 13U. And that is the Western Championships will be in Fort McMurray at the same time as they're hosting the 18Us. That's August 17th to 20th. And Atlantic Canada has its regional championships for 13U. That'll be September 7th to 10th in Fredericton, New Brunswick. And for more information on any of those tournaments, head over to the website baseball.ca. As Alexandre Fournier steps in, she's 2 for 2, 2 singles, 2 runs scored.
On regardait le bio que les joueurs ont été demandés de remplir des bios pour qu'on puisse les connaître un peu. L.A.D. Bédard a rempli 2 pages de bio. beaucoup de texte.
And the one thing I noticed there is she mentioned the tournament that I first
Oui,
saw
que
her in, the
tu
one
te
in
souviens
Bedford.
d'elle en 2018 quand elle est venue ici à l'âge de 14 ans seulement.
And I remember she was on the Quebec 2 team, the developmental team, but I remember even then going, this is a player to watch.
Et voilà.
And sure enough, every now and then I can recognize
Et
talent.
voilà.
Full count here on Fournier.
Grosse erreur qui pourrait être coûteuse. Un jeu de routine mal joué.
And that'll be an
Par
error
Barry.
on Sydney Barry.
Les jeux de routine, on ne peut pas faire des erreurs comme ça. Rendu dans la demi-finale, on doit vraiment s'assurer que toutes nos balles, les jeux faciles, les jeux de routine doivent être accomplis.
And the official scorer agrees with us. They do give an error to Barry on that play. That'll bring up Andréane Leblanc. She's 1 for 2 with a ground out and an RBI double, 2 RBI double. First pitch to LeBlanc, misses high. That error by Barry, the first error committed by either team in this game, as we've seen very clean play on both
Je
sides.
suis d'accord avec toi, du beau baseball. Une petite erreur, c'est remarquable. Eh oui, une prise.
And
L'arbitre au marbre hésite tout le temps un peu avant de faire son appel. Question de s'assurer qu'elle fasse le bon appel. Mais des fois, on a un peu de suspense.
trying to see the number of the player who just came back from the dugout, or from the bullpen. I want to say that it was Braley Shell or Sydney Moore. I couldn't tell if it was an 18 or a 19.
J'ai pas vu. Je suis désolé, je regardais pas.
The black jerseys with the blue numbers with white outline.
C'est
Sometimes
difficile à
hard
voir
to
à
see.
distance. Je suis d'accord avec toi, oui. Pas beaucoup de contraste. Oh, un ballon qui devrait tomber derrière la receveuse. Et non.
And it ends up coming down just behind our tent over here on the third base side. We were in no danger because the Eastlink guys
Ouais,
have
c'est
left
ça,
the booth for a bit.
Dès que les gens d'Eastlink reviennent, on était toujours un peu plus inquiètes.
Yeah, it's only dangerous if they're up here.
Des aimants à baseball magnets.
1-2 the count on LeBlanc. 1 on, 1 out here, bottom of the fourth inning. Quebec leading it
No
by 6. Oh, 1 on, nobody out, excuse me.
Oh, fausse balle.
As Ross able to get over to it while it was still in foul territory before it could spin back into fair.
C'est beau de voir quand même les athlètes, malgré qu'ils ont un déficit de 6 points, ils ont toujours un sourire tout de même sur le visage. On voit quand même qu'ils s'amusent à jouer au baseball. Et c'est la première chose qu'on doit faire lorsqu'on joue au baseball, c'est d'avoir du plaisir. Quand je coachais, c'était la première chose que j'exigeais de mes joueurs. Vraiment la seule chose que j'exigeais de mes joueurs.
Here comes the 1-2. Misses high, 2-2. Scott tried to frame it for Ross, but the umpire not going for it there. Oh no, I thought I saw a spot where we could see the umpires' names there, but...
Et non. Je ne les ai pas captés au début de la manche, malheureusement. C'était haut.
That misses high and the count runs full.
Beau combat de Leblanc. Frappé 2 fausses balles. Va avoir son 8e ou 9e lancé de cette présence. Je crois que Leblanc, son surnom, c'est Bébé. Oh, c'était serré. Belle motion.
Close play there at first base, but Fournier is able to get back in time. Good move from Ross there.
Oui, très beau jeu, geste de Ross.
Very aggressive lead, though, from Fournier. Didn't deter her at all, and there she goes. And the ball
C'est une
down in the
quatrième
dirt.
balle. C'est une quatrième balle.
So the runner going on the 3-2 pitch. And it ends up being ball 4. That'll put runners at first and second with nobody out for Élisée Jelena. Jelena singled, drove in a run, and then came around to score herself in the first and grounded out in the second. Quick check on the game between Ontario 1 and Saskatchewan.
L'entraîneur de l'Alberta qui sort.
And while they have that meeting at the mound, we'll let you know that Ontario 1 leads Saskatchewan 3-0 in that game over at Weir Field. And again, the winner of that game will finish 5th in this tournament. The team that loses will finish 6th. And that's going to be a pitching change for Team Alberta. And now we'll find out if it was an 18 or a 19. And it looks like we're going to see...
Un double switch, peut-être.
Yeah. Cassidy Gervais, it looks like, coming out of the game from first base. And Ross will go from pitcher to first.
C'est facile quand la joueuse qui se présente a un gant de premier but. On sait où est-ce que ça va. Yeah, the first base glove tells all, right?
Yeah. Still can't quite tell with the number on the front whether that's an 18 or a 19. Now that we're seeing the back, it looks...
C'est un 19.
It is 19. So that means it's going to be Braylee Shell coming in to pitch for Team Alberta.
Elle vient de Airdrie.
Yeah, just outside of Calgary.
Encore là, elle aime bien Beau Bichette,
Yeah.
qui est très consistant dans le tournoi.
Airdrie about 20 minutes north of Calgary, maybe even 15 only now as Calgary continues to grow.
Eh oui.
Beautiful city, or small city in its own right. Much like St. Albert is to Edmonton, Airdrie is to Calgary.
Et voilà. Comme Laval est à Montréal.
Exactement. Shell, another one of these young players for Team Alberta, just 18 years old.
Scott a eu un peu de difficulté. On aurait vu quand même beaucoup de coups sûrs. Comme on l'a dit, ou plutôt dans le match, je crois que l'équipe Québec a été une des meilleures avec le bâton dans ce tournoi.
So for Scott, she'll have pitched 3+ innings, given up 7 runs. She's still responsible for the 2 runners on base. And those 7 runs coming on 9 hits. She also walked just 2. And
Un seul retrait sur des prix, je crois.
yeah, one strikeout, yeah. And Fournier on second base would be an unearned run if she comes in because she did reach by error. So,
Ouais.
and just getting confirmation off of game changer here that Ross did stay in the game at first base, and Shell replaces the former first baseman Cassidy Gervais in that spot in the batting order. And the first pitch from Shell in for a strike. It's Élisée Jelena up to bat. The RBI single in the run scored and ground out to second in her 2 at-bats.
Oh, frappé d'aplomb. Est-ce qu'on envoie Fournier? Non, on la garde.
Matlock again with the strong arm
Oui.
in from center field.
Bien frappé par Gélina. Fournier a eu un peu de peur, voir si la balle serait captée. A hésité un peu avant d'aller au 3e, mais comme le jeu était derrière elle. Et voilà, c'est bien rendu.
Brings up Ella Bedard with the bases loaded and nobody
Oh, mon
out.
Dieu.
Debedard,
qui a
1 for 2.
frappé une très longue balle plus tôt.
First pitch from Shell in the dirt.
Et je l'ai mentionné, sa dernière présence, aucun gant de frappeur à la Vlad Guerrero.
Very much so. And
Seigneur.
yes. And Debedard, not the typical physique of a power
Non,
hitter.
tout à fait. C'est une femme qui n'est pas énorme de stature, mais on l'a vu avec Seiki dans le dernier match, frapper une balle. Seiki est peut-être un peu plus grande que ma fille de 13 ans.
Yeah, she may not look like a power hitter, but is she ever a power hitter? Ella Debedard. Infield in at the corners for Alberta. Back at double play depth in the middle of the infield, so they'll trade 2 outs for a run if they have to, but they'd much rather gun things down at home and keep this just a 6-run margin. Not that 6 runs is just at any
Ouais,
point.
ouais.
Although in this tournament, it
Ben, ça met de la pression, évidemment, voilà, 4 lancés, 4 balles, un point produit.
and with the bases loaded, it's not a terrible decision to pitch around Ella Debedard, even with the bases loaded.
Je te donne raison là-dessus.
But it brings up an equally dangerous hitter in Emma Rose Payette. Payette 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored.
Elle a de l'air d'une frappeuse de puissance.
So now Andréane Leblanc at third, Jelena at second, Debedard at first. And Shell delivers.
Oh,
Payette swinging for the
Payette la
fences
voulait
there.
beaucoup là-dessus. Un élan, un gros élan.
You know, she was thinking about the Grand Chelem.
Eh oui.
That one just misses high.
C'est difficile d'une balle haute sur Payette, je crois, mais voilà.
Scott left that ball there for a long time to get a look at.
Avec cet arbitre qui prend son temps à faire ses appels. C'est pas une mauvaise idée de Scott de toujours faire la même chose. Et voilà.
And there's a strike, and now it's 1 and 2.
Oh, le tableau indicateur qui indique 8 balles, une prise.
Here comes the 1-2 delivery. That'll miss high. 2 and 2. And the 2-2.
Oh, oh, flèche, oh, un jeu au premier. Oh non, on revient à temps. Oh, malheureusement, la flèche vers le lanceur, c'est-à-dire, qui a fait un magnifique attrapé. Son relais au premier a retiré la joueuse de premier but, Scott, pour faire l'attrapé.
And for Shell, that might have been self-defense as much as that's twice now in this tournament that we've seen a pitcher make a catch like that off a line drive right back at her. And I know on Eastlink they were having this conversation about how in NCAA softball pitchers now wear.
Ils portent un casque de protection, oui. C'est.
And I don't think we're that far away from pitchers in baseball, at least at the junior levels, start to do the same sort of thing.
Mais surtout là où on permet des bâtons en aluminium. Les bâtons d'aluminium, la technologie s'améliore toujours. C'est incroyable ce qu'on peut faire avec ces bâtons-là aujourd'hui.
And I think you might also start to see pitchers in particular.
Ça perce l'avant-champ. On va tenter un jeu premier peut-être? Et non.
Yeah. And as I was starting to say there, you might start to see pitchers in particular, because of those comebackers, to protect the glove hand, wear gloves with a little bit of extra padding as well. Because, I mean, if you catch it in the webbing, you're fine. But if you catch that ball on the palm, even with the padding that gloves have these days, you could still do some damage to that hand when they're coming back at you that quickly off these aluminum bats. It's now 8-1 as Sophie Gagné gets the, 9-1. Yeah, 9-1 as Sophie Gagné gets the RBI single. Jelena at third, Debedar at second, Gagné at first. So the base is still loaded with one away, and Justine Marin up to bat.
Marin qui a frappé un beau ballon dans l'allée plutôt.
It ended up being an RBI double. She came around to score herself as well later in that inning. She's also walked today, so she's 1 for 1 with 1 run and 1 RBI.
À l'extérieur.
1-1 now the count. And I know we're in the 4th inning, and so we have to start looking, unfortunately, we have to start looking at the fact that the margin is 8.
Oui, puis encore plusieurs coureuses en position de marquer. Les deux qui sont en position de marquer pourraient faire le différentiel de 10, qui mettrait vraiment la pression sur l'Alberta de venir faire un point dans cette manche. Je suis d'accord. On commence à parler un peu de le règlement de la merci, malheureusement.
And to end the game in this inning, it would have to be a margin of 15. So we'd have, Quebec would need to get 7 more runs yet. So I don't think we need to worry about that necessarily, or talk about that part now. But certainly for the 5th, as you say, with only a 10-run margin, the potential game-winning run is Ella Debedar, is Ella Debedar right now, which would make the margin 10, and then Alberta would get their bats in the top of the 5th, but they'd need to score a run, at least 1 run, to keep the game going at that point.
Oui.
That one fouled back, and
nos collègues de Eastlink qui sont de retour, on doit faire attention.
Didn't sound like it hit anything, though, so I think they're okay. And those trucks are tough. They're not quite armored tanks, but close. As Marin stands in here with the count now full, just 1 away. I don't think you send the runners with the bases loaded.
Non. Oh, retrait sur des prises. Important, retrait sur des prises.
Very, very important. That'll make it 2 away. And Lucy Anstil comes up. She grounded into a fielder's choice, reached base on that fielder's choice, came around to score, and doubled and drove in a run. And her walk-up song...
La Ferme Maturin, qui est Old MacDonald, mais La Ferme Maturin en français.
And the Quebec fans off to our left.
Un petit I-A-I-A-O. Ça, c'est pareil dans les deux langues.
Do we have an indication that she plans on being a lower elementary teacher? There's a strike, and the count 1-1 now, I believe, on Anstil.
Mon tracteur est gazon. Et voilà, extérieur.
Two balls, 1 strike, bases loaded, 2 away here, bottom of the 4th inning. Quebec leading it 9-1. That one fouled off, and the count goes to 2-2. Again, this is a semi-final game. The winner will play against British Columbia tonight at 8 o'clock. The team that loses will have to take on Nova Scotia this afternoon or early evening at 5 p.m. And again, those are Atlantic time, so wherever you're watching from, adjust accordingly.
Oh, c'est un ballon qui tombe, qui devrait être attrapé. Et voilà.
And Sydney Berry makes the catch. Berry made the error that ended up starting the inning, but redeems herself by making the catch on the fly ball to end the inning. There were 2 runs, though, for Quebec to extend their lead. 2 runs on 2 hits. That 1 error that we talked about, and the bases left loaded. So we'll go to the 5th with Alberta trailing by 8. It's 9-1, and due up in the 5th inning, it will be Sadie Jesperson, Bailey Schell, and then back around to the top of the order for Ava Greiner. And the top of the 5th inning brought to you by City Councilors Pam Lovelace and Lisa Blackburn. So we still could see this game end in the 5th inning if Alberta doesn't score and Quebec gets 2 in the bottom of the 5th. As soon as they get that second run, the game would come to an end.
Oui, l'Alberta doit répondre. C'est important de mettre quelques points, se donner un coussin de protection. C'est sûr qu'aller en chercher 8, ça serait idéal pour l'Alberta, mais ça doit être une manche agressive au niveau du bâton. On verra peut-être les coureuses aussi de prendre des risques un peu plus étirés, mais pas trop. Il ne faut pas prendre trop de chance à ce niveau-ci.
So it is a big hill, but all you can do is I'm sure there's a similar phrase or a similar maxim in French, but in English, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Une bouchée à la fois. Une bouchée à la fois.
And so that's what Alberta's got to do here. They've got 3 innings to work with. They've got 8 runs to try and catch up. So just focus on getting people on base. Focus on executing those one-on-one battles, the pitcher versus the hitter. You go up, you win your battle, you do your job, and you put enough of those one-on-one battles together, and you'll start to see some success. But it's got to start now. There's not enough time to wait for Alberta at this point.
Oui, il y a de l'urgence. Il doit y avoir de l'urgence, je suis d'accord.
You know, you hear coaches say the same thing in football. They say the same thing in hockey. They say the same thing in basketball. You win your one-on-one battle. Trust that the guy next to you is going to win his.
Tout le monde a un rôle, tout le monde doit le respecter. Dernière manche, Dumoulin a lancé que 10 lancés. Donc, on a vu plus de lancers dans une présence de Leblanc dans la dernière manche.
She's at the point where she almost would have enough pitches left to go this evening.
Eh oui! Ballon vers des Bédard, facilement capté. Premier retrait.
Day Bedard, that is her 3, 4, 5, 6th defensive touch of the ball.
Ouais.
And, the fact of the matter is she's made them all look routine.
Effectivement.
Not because they all were routine, but because she can position herself so well and she can move so quickly.
Oui. Très, très bonne à réagir. Semble toujours à la bonne place aussi.
Brings up Brady Schell for her first at-bat of the game after coming in to pitch in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Oh, voilà, deuxième prise.
Curve ball for a strike there, so the count 0-2.
Dumoulin est dans une zone. Oh, frappé fort. On doit reculer. Oh.
Nearly caught by Dominguez. There has been another defensive change
Oh, serré au deuxième.
I didn't notice it at first, but that is a new left fielder out there.
Eh oui.
Ariane Domingue has come in for Andréane Leblanc.
Elle a dû courir loin pour aller le chercher. Elle l'a presque attrapé. Son relais était bon. On doit dire que le jeu au deuxième a été plus serré qu'on croyait. Et je pense que plus serré que la coureuse croyait qu'elle est arrivée debout où elle aurait peut-être dû glisser pour s'assurer d'être sauf.
And we also have a new right fielder. Clara Dupont takes over for Justine Morin. Oops.
Belle journée pour Marin tout de même, mais des fois on met en faveur de la défensive dans des situations comme celle-ci. Oh!
So the only player left on the bench for Quebec is Bridget Kelly. And just looking to see, they did rule that a double for Shell. Well-deserved a double. There was no error to be called there. That was a great effort by Domingue, and she just...
Oh oui, tout à fait. Elle a dû voyager très loin pour aller chercher cette balle. Son relais était très bon aussi, mais un peu en retard.
That'll bring up, or that does bring up Ava Greiner. Greiner 0 for 2, both of her ground outs to Ella Desbedard.
Oh, ça va tomber dans le no man's land peut-être.
Oh! Just over the head of Jelena. And because Shell wasn't sure whether Jelena was going to be able to get that ball or not.
Elle a dû garder son coussin.
So it puts runners at first and second with one out and brings up Cassie Matlock. Matlock is 0 for 1. Grounded out to Desbedard and lined it right back at Dumoulin. So 0 for 2.
Qui s'élève. Oh!
Out in front of that pitch, and it...
S'était lancé, reçu la balle sur la cheville sur sa motion. Donc frappé par le tir, mais seulement après s'avoir lancé.
If I'm understanding what you said, you can't get credit for a hit by pitch when you're swinging.
There you go.
Just in case anybody else was having trouble translating that in their head like I was, I wanted to make sure I got it right.
Et voilà, oh!
Another
Même chose, même chose. Deux manches, deux présences qui se ressemblent.
And that'll bring up Madison Willen. Willen, the shortstop for Alberta, and she's grounded out to the shortstop Fournier twice in both of her previous plate appearances.
Encore des coureurs au premier, au deuxième.
Now batting number 6, Madison Willen.
Willen really needs to get on base here to try and build up a bit of a rally for Alberta with 2 out.
Oh, et prise.
With 2 out here in the top of the 5th. If Alberta cannot score, Quebec can end the game with 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th, and they're starting at the top of their order.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be a dangerous, difficult task.
Deuxième prise.
Beautiful pitch by Dumoulin.
Elle a le contrôle de se lancer cet après-midi. C'est vraiment, vraiment beau à voir. Elle lance cette balle courbe avec beaucoup de précision.
Quick look at that game between Ontario and Saskatchewan. Again, that's the 5th and 6th place game. Ontario right now leads Saskatchewan by a score of 6-2.
Oh, ballon.
And over to make the catch with her first defensive touch in the game is the new right fielder, Clara Dupont. So the new left fielder almost able to hunt one down, but the new right fielder does. 2 hits for Alberta in that inning, but neither one of them end up costing Quebec. No runs on the 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. We'll go to the bottom of 5. Quebec needs 2 to finish this off early, and it is the top of the order coming up.
Eh oui, nos frappeuses sera Senna Catterall, suivi de Alexandre Fournier et de Ariane Domingue qui va faire sa première présence de l'après-midi. Élisée Gélina, si on s'y rend, sera la 4e.
Now I should point out, we think that Domingue took LeBlanc's spot in the batting
Oui,
order.
oui. On confirmera lorsqu'elle arrivera au bâton. Il y a eu un double changement. Donc, ce sera peut-être Ariane Domingue ou bien on verra possiblement Clara Dupont. Mais on pourra voir bientôt dans le cercle des frappeurs pour vous confirmer.
We'll see when we see.
Saying in the on deck circle should give us the information we need.
That's true. Yeah. As back out there for her second inning of work, her first complete inning of work, it will be Braylee Shell. Shell came in with 2 on and nobody out in the 4th, so she did get credit for a full inning, although it was the inning was in progress.
C'est ça, il y avait déjà des coureurs en place.
And the bottom of the 5th inning, sponsored by East Coast Paving and Atlantic Asphalt. And that game between Ontario and Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan is the home team in that game. So Ontario had the first at-bats. They scored 6 in the first. Saskatchewan responded with 2 of their own in the first. Ontario batting with runners on the corners and 1 out in the top of the 2nd. And again, the winner gets 5th place in the tournament. The losing team will get 6th. 7th place is Ontario 2. 8th place was Manitoba. And 9th place was the Quebec 2 Quebec development team. So final standings starting to come into place.
Ça commence à tomber en place, oui.
As Sina Catterall steps in, she's 1 for 3 with a single and an RBI and a run scored.
Et on l'a mentionné un peu dans la dernière manche, 2 points comptés par le Québec ici mettraient fin au match. Donc, important d'être solide en défensive de la part de l'Alberta. Oui, c'est une prise.
Top of the zone, and the count goes to 1-1. And you can't help but feel bad for the Alberta pitchers, both Shell and Ross, as they have just run into a juggernaut of an offense today.
Les bâtons sont vraiment réveillés du côté du Québec.
That one misses high and outside, so 2-1 the count. And again, the bronze medal game scheduled for 5 o'clock, so a little over an hour from now. That would be 2 o'clock in Alberta. It would be 4 o'clock in Quebec. And it'll be 5 o'clock here in Nova Scotia for the Nova Scotia team. Easy to do that math. And I'm a math teacher.
Et voilà, et voilà.
And again, the gold medal game.
Oh, bel élan.
Swing and a miss there, and the count goes to 3-2. The gold medal game will be at 8 o'clock locally here in Atlantic Canada. For the BC fans, that'll be 4 o'clock. In Alberta, it'd be 5, and in Quebec, it would be 7. Just want to cover all the bases to make sure.
C'est un pun, ça, cover all the bases? Is that a pun? Covering all the bases?
Wasn't intended to be, but it works.
Prends le crédit, Mike.
It is the expression in English, and it just so happens to work that we're...
Et voilà, au baseball en même temps.
Brings up Alexandre Fournier. She's 2 for 3 with 2 singles, reached on an error, so got on base all 3 times and scored all 3 times she got on. And has played pretty good at shortstop. Hasn't really been tested at shortstop.
Fait un bel arrêt de la balle, pas pu compléter le jeu, mais un beau plongeon pour empêcher la balle d'aller dans le champ.
And Fournier also doubles as the potential winning run here right now.
Oui, oui.
Shell gets herself set. That'll miss inside. And I believe the count now 2-0.
Oui.
And Alberta does have some action in their bullpen, trying to see the number. Can't quite, as she turns around, it looks like it's...
16 peut-être? 16 maybe? No? 18?
18, I think.
Sydney Moore?
Sydney Moore, yeah.
C'est difficile à voir, ils sont loin de nous. La clôture est noire. Les uniformes sont noirs et les chiffres sont bleus. Donc, il n'y a pas beaucoup de contraste pour voir qui est dans l'enclos en train de se réchauffer. Mais voilà, 2 buts sur balle consécutifs pour Shell. Pas une très bonne façon de commencer une manche très importante pour l'Alberta.
And now we get confirmation that it is Clara Dupont who came into this spot in the batting order.
Sa première présence de l'après-midi.
So after coming in as a defensive replacement in the top of the 5th, DuPont gets her first plate appearance in the bottom of the 5th, and that means Ariane Domingue will be in the 8th spot in the batting order, taking the spot that had been occupied by Justine Marin.
Eh oui. Une autre athlète qui est originaire de Sainte-Martine, Dupont. Sainte-Martine n'est pas une très grande ville. Il y a 2 athlètes ici de la même municipalité. Elle est âgée de 19 ans.
So a couple of young Saint Martin natives here in Halifax this weekend.
Sainte-Martine may have a population of 10,000, and that's if you count the cows.
For some of the places I lived, you'd have to count the cows, the chickens, the horses, and the dogs to get up to 10,000. Here comes the 2-1 pitch.
Oh, yeah.
She thought about swinging, held up, but does get a called strike, so the count goes
C'est
to
un beau
2-2.
lancer. Ça l'a tenté beaucoup à Dupont.
Élisée Gelina in the on-deck circle. Catterall at second. Alexandre Fournier at first. The potential game-ending run.
Oh, balle frappée profondément.
And Stanich able to get over and make the catch. Tagging and advancing to third on the play is Catterall.
Catterall qui a de la bonne vitesse. C'était le bon jeu de faire le tag play là-dessus.
Stanich had to run a long way to get to that ball, though, so a nice play by her out in left field.
Tout à fait. Les athlètes maintenant rendus au premier et au troisième.
And Élisée Gelina steps in. She's 2 for 3, an RBI and a run scored, part of her stat line for the day.
Shell ne semble pas se préoccuper des coureuses énormément. C'est sûr qu'elle les vérifie, mais elle ne fait pas aucune motion vers un pick-off, vers le premier ou même au deuxième plutôt.
That one misses high, ball 1.
Et revenant du... Oh, j'avais peut-être tort. C'était peut-être un 20... Peut-être une 29?
Bryn Lorette.
Peut-être.
Yes.
Oui,
yes,
c'était Bryn Lorette qui était dans l'enclos en train de se réchauffer. Et voilà qui est parti. Oh, et Senna Catterall qui fonce au marbre. Elle sera retirée.
The attempted double steal doesn't work as the throw cut off by, or not cut off, but sent to the shortstop Willen and then right back in. So Senna Catterall caught stealing 2-6-2 on the putout.
Le Québec tente le tout pour le tout.
And that means a runner now at second base with 2 out, and the potential game-ending run is all the way back to the plate again.
Et voilà.
With Gelina.
Mais Catterall était leur meilleure coureuse. C'était à risquer. Si c'était la bonne décision, évidemment, avec du recul, c'est facile de dire non, mais Shell ne lance pas très bien. Elle semble avoir beaucoup de difficultés à trouver le marbre. J'aurais été plus patient de ma propre décision moi-même, mais évidemment, c'est facile assis ici derrière mon écran en train de faire ses commentaires.
If we could time travel after doing commentary,
un flux capacitor.
Yeah, there you go. 1.21 gigawatts. There's a walk to Gelina, so that puts the potential game-ending run back on base again. Fournier at second, Gelina at first, and Ella Desbedard.
Pourrait finir ce match avec un élan. On en parle beaucoup de sa puissance, mais on l'a vu dans pas sa dernière présence, mais l'autre auparavant. Et voici, je crois qu'on aura un changement de lanceuse. Le but sur balle doit montrer la fin de Shell, si je ne me trompe pas.
Oh,
Oh, c'était seulement que 3 balles. Oh, on a envoyé une 4e balle là-dessus.
and good on the umpire to go and double check with the official score
Bon, oui, on ne l'avait pas remarqué nous-mêmes, mais voilà que...
yeah, she said I had the wrong count. That one's on me. So 3-0 is now the count on Alizé Jelena, as I again have to switch glasses over and over and over again.
J'ai abandonné avec les lunettes aujourd'hui. J'ai dit, je vais faire un squint à la place.
I have enough trouble reading what I have written. If I had to squint as well, it'd be a disaster.
Ouf! Ça devrait être le 3e retrait, je pense qu'il y a trop d'auteur là-dessus. Et oui. Balle frappée très profondément, avec 3 balles, aucune prise. Possiblement la mauvaise décision. On aurait pu s'attendre à prendre ce lancer. Surtout que Shell semblait avoir de la difficulté. Mais voilà.
No runs, no hits, no errors, but one runner left on base. One runner ended up getting caught stealing, and between that, it means we do go to the 6th inning. Alberta trailing by a score of 9-1 to Team Quebec.
Québec a été agressif. Ils ont essayé d'aller chercher le match. Évidemment, un beau jeu en défensive de l'Alberta, comme on l'a dit avant la manche. Il devait jouer bien en défensive, s'assurer que il protège ce risque de 2 points qui les aurait mis en péril.
Brings up Tyra Stanich, Caitlin Ross, and Julianne Scott in the top of the 6th inning. And the top of the 6th, visit Cars R Us if you need a new or used.
Cars R Us.
Need a new or used vehicle? Visit Cars R Us for all your automobile needs. And we'll take another quick look over at Weir Field. Ontario now leads it 7-2 into the top of the 3rd inning there. And again, that one is for 5th and 6th place. The battle for 3rd and 4th will go at 5 o'clock this afternoon between Nova Scotia and whichever team comes out short in this game, which right now looks like it will be Alberta, but...
on sait jamais. La fat lady sings, comme on dit l'expression.
And then at 8 o'clock, the battle for the championship banner, the big trophy, and the ability to say that you are the #1 province for women's baseball in this country.
Their bragging rights.
Either British Columbia or Quebec, or possibly British Columbia or Alberta. We'll find out in 2 more innings who BC's opponent will be. That pitch misses high, ball 1. Alberta with 6 outs to work with to try and get these 8 runs, but like we've seen in this tournament so far, the old Yogi Berra, it ain't over till it's over.
Oh, Stanich qui se fait... Oh, non, voilà qu'on la rappelle, je crois. Non, on lui donne le but. Je suis désolé.
Yeah.
Elle n'a pas fait beaucoup d'efforts pour s'enlever de se lancer. Stanich, je trouve, ça a été ma critique plusieurs fois dans ce week-end de voir des athlètes qui se laissent frapper par la balle. Mais écoute, lorsqu'on est un recul de 8 points, on fait ce qu'on peut pour rester sur les coussins.
So Stanich is at first base. That brings up Caitlin Ross. Ross 0 for 2. She popped out to the pitcher and flew out to left her previous 2 plate appearances. As you can hear the wind picking up a little bit, blowing across from left to right, a little bit in from left field, but...
Because I changed things. Everything goes good. I was like, okay, let's, well, this day's shot, he's here.
Oh!
That guy.
Throw back over to first, and Stanich able to get back in easily, but the count now 2-0 on Caitlin Ross.
Oh, okay, when? Like, probably right around 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock? Yeah.
Okay.
2-0 the count here on Ross.
Should have wore a tie, buddy.
That one fouled back into the screen, 2-1.
Dumoulin fait même du field du field care.
She gets herself set, and here comes the 2-1 pitch.
Oui, une prise.
Nice pitch right at the top of the zone.
J'aime bien la petite routine de Dumoulin, 3 petits élans avec son bras avant de lancer la balle. Prend sa pause.
And with a runner on base, she does a very good job of that slide step delivery to help help with that battle against the running game. Pitch gets fouled back, so the count remains 2-2. Grounder to third. Over to second for one.
Et
Not
bottom.
in time.
Premier retrait de la manche.
If there had been a little bit more force on that throw from third base from Jelena, maybe there would have been a better chance to turn it. Give David our credit. She did a great job on the turn.
Oui, oui. Je crois que l'élan d'Alizé Gélina lui permettait seulement de faire un lancer par en dessous vers Debedar, mais quand même un très beau jeu en défensive de sa part.
And when you're ahead by 8 and the other team is down to their last 6 outs, you're okay with getting just the fielder's choice, not the double play there.
Eh oui. Peut-être qu'Alizé ne croyait pas au double jeu elle-même, mais Debedar a tout de même fait l'effort. Encore une fois, Debedar impliqué dans le jeu.
Brings up Julianne Scott. Scott 2 for 2 on the day. Also has been very busy behind the plate.
Celui-ci devrait être un double jeu. Et voilà, qui met fin à cette manche. Fournier fait un sans aide au deuxième but, le relais au premier.
So a hit batter to lead off the inning is erased, as there was the double play. So no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. We've played 5.5, and we're in the same situation we were in the bottom of the fifth. If Quebec can get 2 here in the bottom of the 6th, it will be the end of the ball game.
Et oui, voilà qu'on commence la manche avec Ella Debedar, qui sera suivie de Emma Rose Payette, Sophie Gagné, et puis Ariane Domingue, qui sera la 4e frappeuse, si on s'y rend.
And over at Weir Field, that game for 5th and 6th place, Ontario now leading Saskatchewan by a score of 9-2, excuse me. Ontario 6 in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third. Saskatchewan with 2 in the third. Ontario still batting in the top of that inning. So Ontario looks to be comfortably out in front there. As
Dumoulin's pitch count now hit 80.
just 80 pitches for Dumoulin through 5 innings. That is a superb count.
Tout à fait.
Bottom of the 6th, proud supporters Dexter Construction and McLeod Signs.
Bien attrapé, Mike.
I took it to the Eastleigh Community TV projection desk, and that's what they have come up with that determination.
Voilà, 4h08.
Here is Ella de Bedard. She's, as we mentioned before, 1 for 2, also has walked.
Skunk from the Shubenacadie Wildlife Park, as well as the bird, and
1-0 the count on De Bedard. De Bedard also defensively with what did we say, 6 putouts?
Même un 7e dans cette manche, le fait le double jeu, ben le tentat de double jeu.
Right. There's a strike, and the count goes to 1-1. Not her, I mean, she's 1 for 2 with a walk, so a single, a flyout, and a walk, but defensively, maybe one of her better games.
Très impliqué, oui, je suis d'accord.
Again, just showing how much of an all-around ball player she is. She's one that you could put in the outfield, you could put in the infield, you could put on the pitcher's mound. You know you're going to get good at-bats from her. The true complete ball player.
Shohei Ohtani pourrait apprendre quelque chose d'elle. Aucun jeu.
As Ross, I think, thought that ball was closer than it actually was, or Scott, excuse me, thought that ball was closer than it actually was, as it ended up landing well back beyond the fence. The count is 2-2 here on Ella de Bedard. Shell out in her 3rd inning of work here for Alberta. That one misses in the dirt, and the count runs full.
Encore une balle bloquée par Ross.
Not that there was anyone on base,
Non,
but still.
C'est quand même une balle qui te percute. 3 balles, 2 prises.
That one fouled off the foot, and De Bedard feeling that one.
Eh oui. Petite marche, question de dégourdir le pied.
Gives her coach a big thumbs up, though. Lets him know that she'll be all right. That's why you see those major league ball players with the shin pad, the foot guard, the whole.
C'est un peu rendu ridicule, l'armure qu'ils doivent porter pour aller frapper.
Takes them 20 minutes after they get a walk to get everything off.
Le ball boy doit sortir avec une brouette.
And there is ball 4. And that will put De Bedard at first base and bring the potential game-ending run up to the plate in the form of Emma Rose Payette. Payette 1 for 3, a single, a run scored, a pop out to the shortstop, and a liner right back at Braylee Shell. I was about to call her Bryden, but that's one of my students. De Bedard fakes to go for second base, but ends up holding up as she saw how well Scott got up after the pitch. 1-0 the count on Payette. And Bryden, if you are watching, what are you doing? Listen to me during the summer. Get go.
Work on your multiplication tables.
That one fouled back into the screen, and count goes to 1-1. Actually, it was more, what are you doing listening to me during the summer when you can listen to me all year? Enjoy your time off.
À l'extérieur.
That brings it to 2-1. Sophie Gagné, the DH, in the on-deck circle. Or at least should be in the on-deck circle. Can't quite see her from here, but...
Elle était là plus tôt, elle a ramassé un peu l'équipement de Bédard. Encore à l'extérieur. Shell a un peu de misère à trouver la plaque, je trouve. Souvent, beaucoup de lancers à chaque frappeur.
But there's no quit in her, that's for
non,
sure.
Ça c'est certain. C'est pas le manque d'effort qui est là.
Runner going. Nope.
Et voilà une prise. Compte complet.
Bedard's fooled me a couple of times now in this at-bat on whether she's running or not. Here comes the payoff pitch. This time she is going, and that ball is launched.
Oh, très belle attrapée.
And there's Matlock again with a nice catch out in center field, and Dave Bedard has to go all the way back to first base.
Matlock, pas grand-chose qui tombe près d'elle. Elle a fait un très belle attrapée, une belle course pour aller chercher cette balle, frappée très profondément près de la clôture. Et c'est toujours un facteur quand on approche la clôture. On a un peu d'inquiétude, on veut pas faire de collision avec.
Brings up Sophie Gagné. Gagné 1 for 3. Flew out to center, struck out, and then had an RBI single, her most recent time up.
Dans le match de vendredi soir, une petite controverse avec Gagné qui a baissé l'épaule un peu en arrivant au marbre pour essayer de déloger la balle, mais évidemment, c'est inacceptable. On l'a éjecté du match, mais c'était la 7e manche. La fin de la 7e manche, on l'a pas perdu pour trop.
If I remember correctly, that was the BC game, was it not?
Je crois que oui.
Yeah. Scott catches that one high after a nice catch on the first one, having to almost leap for it.
Alors, on va tourner deux là-dessus. Non, un seul.
They will get the lead runner, though, as the fielder's choice goes Jesperson to Willen.
3-6.
And that will put the runner at first base into the form of Sophie Gagné and bring up for her first at-bat of the game, Ariane Domingue, who came in as a defensive replacement in the top of the 5th.
Eh oui, voilà Domingue avec sa première présence. Une athlète originaire de Terrebonne.
Home of the Cobras. There I go with my junior hockey again.
Il étudie la psychologie. Son athlète préféré, Derek Jeter.
The captain.
The captain himself. Mr. November.
That one pulled well foul. I will admit I am not a Yankees fan. Never have been, probably never will be. But one of my favorite players to ever wear the pinstripes was Derek Jeter. He was always
un gamer, comme on dit. Le surnom de Monsieur November, c'est pas... Je crois qu'il a frappé dans les séries mondiales au-delà de 400 de moyenne pendant les World Series. Vraiment un homme qui se présentait dans les plus grands moments.
And always, not only did he always play the game the right way, but he always acted the right way off the field as well. You know, a true gentleman on and off the field, classy individual.
Je crois que oui. Oh!
That one gets through. And so with 2 away, the potential game-ending run is now at first base as Domingue gets the single up through the middle, and that will bring up Lucie Antil. She's 1 for 3, an RBI double, grounded into a fielder's choice and came around to score, and popped out to Sydney Berry back in the 4th.
Tout le monde devrait avoir ce walk-up song, je pense.
That'll miss high, 1-0.
On joue aussi un très bon match derrière le marbre comme receveuse, Anctil, très solide aujourd'hui.
And yeah, when you put that together with her 1 for 3 at the plate, one of the people that you have to think about.
Eh oui, on doit en discuter. On commence à avoir la conversation rendue en 6e manche. À l'extérieur.
I look at a player like Jelena, 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Fournier reached base 3 times, scored all 3 times she got on base. You know, or reached base all 4 times she got to the plate. That one misses, and the count goes to 3-0. Or 2-0, excuse me.
Je crois que c'est 3-0. Oh, ça devrait être la fin de la manche. Fou!
As Barry makes the catch for the 3rd out, nearly a collision there between Barry and Willen.
Ouais, Willen fait l'appel, on doit donner la balle à l'arrêt-court. C'est aussi simple que ça en tant que hiérarchie dans l'avant-champ. L'arrêt-court mène tout le monde.
So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner, or 2 runners, excuse me, left on base. We will go to the 7th. But Alberta needs to get 8 runs in this half inning to force Quebec to have to come to bat in the bottom of the 7th. And it's going to start with Sydney Barry, Sadie Jesperson, and Braylee Shell. And if anyone gets on, then back around to the top of the order for Ava Greiner. And since it is the top of the 7th, it's time to remind you that if you're hungry after the game, visit Boston Pizza in Bayers Lake. Unfortunately for us, with it now being 20 after 4, I don't know we're going to have time.
Non, je crois que on va probablement commencer le match de 5 heures un peu en retard si on considère qu'on doit faire un petit balayage de l'avant-champ et puis donner un réchauffement aux 2 équipes. 5:15, I think, would be a fair time, depending how quickly this inning ends, right?
And again, Quebec could potentially say we want our full hour in between games, which with it being 4:20 right now, that means, you know...
Ce serait Alberta si jamais...
Or Alberta,
ouais.
You're right, I'm sorry.
Oui, c'est vrai, hein, l'Alberta doit avoir l'exigence de vraiment 1 heure entre les 2 manches, entre les 2 matchs. Ça pourrait venir en ligne de compte. En fait, si je serais l'entraîneur de l'Alberta, je l'exigerais. Je donnerais une chance à mes athlètes de s'hydrater, de se reposer. Si jamais l'Alberta perd le match, évidemment. Une question de remettre un peu les pendules à l'ordre, comme on dit. Voilà Dumoulin qui commence sa 7e manche.
As Sydney Barry steps in, she's 0 for 2, grounded out both times. 1 time drove in a run, the only Alberta run. And when you're looking at players of the game for Alberta, she has the only RBI in this game and has played well at 3rd base. You also have to look at Cassie Matlock and her play out in the field. 0 for 3 at the plate, but very well defensively again out in center field. You know, Julianne Scott playing great behind the plate. She's also 2 for 3 at the plate. So another player there that might get some consideration.
Un peu difficile de choisir une joueuse pour l'Alberta. Et voilà, le camion d'Eastlink qui prend une autre fausse balle.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Barry. Stanich, who played well out in left field.
Oui, fait de beaux attrapés.
And scored the only run, coming around after getting on
La meilleure
with a walk.
chevelure de l'équipe.
And the best hair, yeah.
Facilement attrapé par Payette pour le premier retrait.
So, oops, that should be an L, not an F. Lined her to Payette for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Sadie Jesperson. Jesperson 0 for 2. Grounded out to Day Bedard and popped out to Day Bedard.
Il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont fait des jeux vers des Bedard aujourd'hui.
Next batter, number 15, Sadie Jesperson.
And Jesperson, I don't think we've mentioned this, but where is she? There she is, Jesperson from Spruce Grove. And that one catches her between the lower back and upper thigh.
OK.
Not sure what words we're allowed to use on the internet, so I just said between the lower back and upper back thigh.
Gluteus maximus.
There you go.
Voilà, on prend les termes un peu plus biologiques à ce niveau-là.
So with the hit batter, that brings up Braylee Shell for her second at bat. She doubled her first time up. She's also pitched well in relief, so she's one who
Je trouve
not
que
hit.
ça a été convenable. Je
Yeah.
pense pas que ça a été excellent. Elle a eu du mal à trouver le marbre. Je crois qu'un petit peu l'agressivité de l'équipe Québec à la fin de la 5e manche, ça a été un peu pas leur défaite, parce qu'évidemment, ils sont encore en avance par 8 points, mais ça aurait dû marquer la fin du match si on avait été un peu plus patient sur les coussins.
0-2 the count on Shell.
Oh,
Swings through that one. And that will be the second out of the inning.
Oh, ouais, on ne peut pas courir quand le premier but est occupé.
And now, one out away from the gold medal game for Team Quebec. Ava Griner stepping in.
On ne peut pas négliger aussi Dumoulin comme joueuse du match. Un match complet de cette manche qui a lancé seulement 90 lancés.
Just one run on 4 hits that she's given up. So,
oui,
yeah,
frappé deux frappeuses, atteint 2 frappeuses avec une balle, mais à part ça, on ne peut pas vraiment critiquer sa journée de travail du tout. Je crois que je pense que plusieurs filles que tu as mentionnées plus tôt ont déjà gagné un peu le trophée. Je ne sais pas si Dumoulin l'a gagné dans le tournoi à date, je m'en souviens pas.
And one other stat to throw at you here, she's stranded 5 runners on base.
Un autre trait.
And that will do it. Quebec will face BC in the gold medal game.
Et voilà. Beaucoup de pratique sur cette poignée de main pour célébrer. Beau travail d'équipe Québec, de très actifs bâtons, très forts. Et félicitations à eux, je crois qu'ils ont été fantastiques pour se rendre au match de la médaille d'or.
The more I think about it, the more you cannot argue against Dumoulin.
Oui, d'après moi, je donnerais la victoire à Dumoulin dans son travail aujourd'hui. Joueur du match, je pense que les entraîneurs doivent y penser, j'en suis certain.
And Alberta, again, we talked about a couple of candidates, Stanich being the one who scored the only run. And Julianne Scott going 2 for 3, playing well behind the plate. I think either one of those two you could make a good argument for. And when as a team you've only had 4 hits, it's hard to look at anybody offensively.
Eh oui. C'est difficile. Comme je te dis, la décision d'Alberta sera difficile. On va peut-être le donner à Scott, qui a joué un très bon match derrière la plaque. A été très efficace.
And like I said, she's got 2 of the 4 Alberta hits.
Donc,
so,
ouais, d'après moi, Scott devrait la gagner. Dumoulin du côté du Québec, mais évidemment, comme on le dit souvent, c'est pas nous qui faisons la décision.
We'll wait and see, but I think we're pretty safe with guessing Dumoulin.
Ouais, moi, un match complet, 7 manches lancées. C'est pas rendu à 100 lancés, était en bas de 100 lancés dans cette manche. Ouais. Voyons, écoutons la décision.
Now for the respective players in the game. For Team Alberta, number 25, Juliana Scott.
Et voilà,
There,
Scott
yeah,
qui
it is
gagne.
indeed Scott, yeah. Like I said, 2 for 3 at the plate, plus all of that great work behind the plate. So great effort for her today.
Maintenant, le joueur du match pour l'équipe québécoise, le numéro 38.
Eh oui, Dumoulin.
So,
Et on voit que la stature de Dumoulin est tout petite. Elle est plus petite que ma fille.
so there you have it, the players of the game, Scott and Dumoulin. And that means coming up, technical start. And look at that, Team Quebec hoisting their victorious pitcher onto their shoulders as they book a berth in the gold medal game.
Eh oui, ils joueront à 8 heures ce soir. Reste à voir que si l'équipe Alberta demandera vraiment son heure de repos, ils ont droit. En tant qu'entraîneur, je prendrais peut-être pas besoin de prendre un batting practice suite au repos, mais oui, on a droit à la stratégie, je la ferai.
And I think that's what Holly's talking to them about right now to find out if they want their full hour or if they want to go as soon as the field is ready. Once we know what our start time is going to be for the bronze medal game, we will pass that information along to you. Of course, the stream will stay open, so just keep checking back. Alberta will play Nova Scotia in the bronze medal game. Quebec will play BC for gold. Both of those coming up later today. Until then, on behalf of Eric Fougier, this is Michael Petter saying, may your pitches hit the corners and your liners reach the fence. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back with you in just a little bit.
Merci.